welcome everybody to this edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with my brothers Damon Armstrong and Ja'Quari Armstrong. This is a podcast for really everyday people speaking their minds about every topic from every spectrum. Today's guest we have part of the OFAAFO brand, that is Andre Mullins, and also Ankobia, Joseph McDowell. And we also have a friend of the show, Bruce. I'm not even going to say your last name, but Bruce. But who's going to be joining us a little later is Bill Burnett and also Kevin Miller, as soon as they get a chance. Okay, tonight's show is mainly to big up a brand that's been around since 1995. And the reason why it's important to me because I know those brothers. And one thing that was always taught to me and my brothers is to stick to what you know and what you love and what's important to you. And I'm sure these guys fit in there somewhere. Okay? Let's do this like we always do. Ja'Quari, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm holding on with both hands, brother.
There you go. You got to hold on with both hands with everything.
Holding on.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I'm just glad to be on here with some brothers I've been knowing for over 30 years, man. For real.
You know? That's some realness right there.
Yeah, man.
You know,
that's a special thing, man. It ain't often, man, that you experience that, man.
You have to always acknowledge it, at least to yourself, when that happens.
Yeah.
Ray Mullins, how are you today, sir?
I'm blessed, brother. I'm blessed always.
Okay.
Blessed.
Okay. Bruce Williams, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. Did you say you wasn't going to say the last
Government
look, and you over there feeling real grateful I did, too.
No, I'm good. I'm good, man. Like Mullins said, blessed to see another day and see, like Luke said, to be amongst people I've known for 30, 35 plus years. So
that's real. That is real. Cole, how you doing today, brother?
Aesthetic, son. You know, everybody else. So it's just lovely to be here. Support your podcast, support the O, of course, and our brothers. This is dope.
Okay. Hey, look, and one thing about it, the fellas, they got their, I'm sure Kevin's going to have one on when he come on. They got their OFAAFO gear on, and it's hot to death, man. If you go to the website, oh, man, it's incredible. And really and truly,
yes, it is.
It's a testament.
Yeah, because I went to the mail and I ain't see mine, man. I guess I have to go.
Get in uniform.
It's coming.
Look, do it like this. I'm looking for the box.
Yeah. The big, 3X and 4X, we tell you right now, it's going to be a minute. It's hard to find high quality gear. But you know what I mean? It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, I'm just saying, man, I'd had mine on too. Shit,
yeah,
had
no
all
doubt,
that.
no doubt.
But you know, I stole this from Keith, so hey.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been stealing this shit for most of my life, so hey.
That's a compliment. You still
I had on his full great pit gear one day. He came on. He was like, "Hey man, where you get that from?" Well, I copped that last time you was here, bro.
Yeah.
You come home.
It was always collateral damage when I went to the crib, man. Yeah, it's what it is.
You come home with a suitcase and you leave and the suitcase is lighter. You know your shit been ran through, man.
You talking about a handkerchief with a stick?
Shit. All right. Well, look. What we do each episode is me, Damon, and Ja'Quari. We usually have our own individual segments, and we talk about what's been on our mind. But first, let me say that we are going to discuss the OFAAFO brand. This is what we're going to do. We're going to have some fun along the way because these brothers are hilarious. You see, I like being around funny people. You know what I'm saying? Me, they say I'm too serious sometimes, but shit, that's a part of my damn humor. But we talk about, we have our little segments, and I'm always the beginning. And what I want to talk about the threat is, let me just get this straight. And a lot of times, the big show takes 20 minutes to get. But a lot of times, in my spare time, I spend it. I spoke
Bro,
to.
you might cover it up, man.
Yeah, you sound kind of muffled, bro.
Hold on. I got to put them both in. How I sound clear now?
Yep. Wait.
All right, my fault. My fault, people. But surfing through the net, just trying to clear my mind, getting entertained, because that's what it is entertainment. Every once in a while, you'll find something that's useful to you. And I saw this young sister on there, an academic, and she wanted to talk about entitlement in our community, our children's entitlement. And basically what she said, and I'm not even getting into what point she was trying to make, but there's some of the things she said. She said that, and you guys might have heard this, but they say tough times produce great men, but great men produce weak children. See, the thing about it is, a lot of time people over time craft different sayings to fit their agenda, right? I thought that was insulting because up until that point, she was making great points about, men and women should unify and at least conversate with each other for change, right? But the thing about it is, I see myself as a great man, but I also see my sons as great men. I've never seen them any different from that. Even if they walk a path I didn't walk. That's how I raised them to do it. I raised them to forge their own path. See, a lot of times, what you need to do, my opinion, what you need to do is take it in, what people say, and process it. If you need to research what they're saying, do that. But form your own opinion about it. If you change your mind, if they change your mind about something, let it be that they change your mind about something. Don't let it be that she looked good with her breast out, or she sounds like super intelligent because she pronounces her ers and r's and n's and shit. You see what I'm saying?
Wait, did she have her breast out, big dog? I'm sorry to say that, but did you mention that? That kind of threw me up. Like,
go.
No, my fault.
No. First of all, I wouldn't have mentioned it if I.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, I wouldn't have mentioned it.
Hey, that was a captivation, brother.
Put it all back together right there.
The other part was, thought provoking, but
yeah.
I'm gonna stick through this one, man. Let me see where she going with
right.
What the hell is he going? Yeah. So, really and truly, just to close it up is, a lot of times what I teach my sons is to make their own, because my father did that for us. Make your own decision, even if your decision is wrong. Stick by your guns, but be prepared to be flexible, to understand why you're going down that road. Because the whole premise of this podcast is to speak your mind. But we throw the caveat in there and say, okay, you spoke your mind. Can you please back it up for us? You don't have to go into to convince me why you feel this way or change my mind, but let me see where you're coming from. Let me see your face, who you are. You feel me? That's Big Dog's perspective.
Okay, so what was the statement again that she made?
She said, tough times produce great men. Great men produce weak children.
Yeah, I mean, just those words itself, like, how you gonna say that? Man.
But this is why I said entitlement when I said the word entitlement.
No doubt. I get
because first and foremost, people make entitlement like it's a wrong word. You should always feel like you're entitled. I don't get but to be obnoxious and a a-hole and being entitled, that gives entitled a bad name. Because what do? We walk forward, man. We walk forward with our back straight, looking ahead, looking around us, and being who we are. Period.
You
Well,
can't have
That's what
entitlement
we're
without
supposed to
works.
do.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't have entitlement without works. Like
Good
people's
point.
entitlement
Good
is
point.
like, oh, I'm supposed to just get it because. No, you should feel entitled because you earned it.
well,
The last thing I'm gonna say is this. Go ahead, Fluke. You said you wanted to say something.
no, I mean, I understand to a certain extent, but if it kind of feels like it was a, I mean, I don't know if she was speaking to any particular group,
Talk
black,
show.
white, or whatever,
Talk show.
but I think
White
that,
commentator.
well, I think that was a clever statement, man. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
What is you know? I mean, what was the point in it? Is my point. You know what I'm saying?
Sensationalism.
Yeah.
So you trying to find weakness in a great man?
Right.
I think that, you know, and here's the thing. What we do, and I want you guys to chime in on this.
I don't want to belabor it, bro. I'm just
No.
confused.
Here's my opinion about it. Is sometimes, and I understand our community is a conservative community, but we have flexibilities to alter different things that we're restricted by. We're conservative. You gotta think about it. We're law-abiding citizens, right? Because you gotta think, why hasn't it been a revolution if we don't abide by the law? But guess what we get treated like we are rebels all the time because it's that psyche, right? So to answer your question, brother Luke, I think she said that because sometimes lately in our community, the men and the women are pitted against each other. And they try to find weaknesses in each other, even if it's not hostile.
Well, that's where I got from it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's always a worry, though, no matter who. I mean, now being a father myself, it's a worry. Like, hey, am I making it too easy? Whereas, like, me and Cole was talking about the other day, so I make it too easy. Where I might have had to go through different circumstances that felt framed me to maybe be quote unquote the great person you might feel like you could make it in society. They're like, oh, this dude can't even walk to the store by himself, right? So you start. So I think it's something that I constantly contemplate. But it's a marathon though. Like Nipsey said, it's a marathon. So a lot of times, like just because somebody grew up in the suburbs, and versus me having to be out in the middle of the projects every day, it don't matter. It didn't make no difference in. I mean, I'm no greater than nobody else because of my plight and the person that grew up with a more sheltered plight. You know what I mean? So that's the things I got to balance myself. Just speaking to that, like I don't have to be so tough.
Anybody else?
I think as parents, man, especially parents who happen to grow up poor or whatever, or didn't have as much. We all told ourselves, man, like shit. When I get kids, man, there's certain shit they're not gonna have to deal with. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like as an example, shit. I was 25 years old, not living, with my parents, but my dad, he would still come and pick me up every day and take me to work. Okay, now he hear him telling he had to walk to school every day 12 miles uphill both directions for the snow in Mississippi. So
Mississippi now.
Yes. So he
Mississippi now, but go ahead, dog.
Yeah, now he made it his business, to make sure, especially because I was probably his youngest son, but he made it his business to make sure it's just some shit that I didn't have to deal with, growing up and coming into my manhood or whatever. Now, I'm sure he had people in his ear talking about, you're supposed to grow a man, you need to do this, for himself or whatever, but he made a decision to tote me back and forth, but that wasn't his only goal. His only goal, well, his main goal was to, to get to know his son as a man, and that's what he did.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. The way he came at me, man. If you don't work, you can't eat. He ain't told me nowhere.
At least he say it to you though. He didn't just tell you.
Look, you drive past in the rain, talking about, hey man, you ain't got to school yet.
Yeah.
You better pick up your pace, bro.
Right.
I said, I can't get a ride, dog.
Nah, he be like, no, you ain't
I'm
gonna
just joking, man.
Nah.
Bruce, Zay, anything?
So I think I get where she was coming from. Maybe I wouldn't agree with the wording, but it's pretty simple to me. It's when you make it to a certain level, you don't want you want your kids to have what you didn't have. You don't want it to be a struggle for them, and you want them to have the opportunities that you didn't have. So yeah, we probably make it easier for them. I don't think that we necessarily make them weak, but we because we still instill certain virtues, certain things. But yeah, we probably make it easier. But I think I get what she's saying, but we don't want them to struggle like we did. But I think if you just whatever type of character you have, it will eventually come through with them. It will eventually come through with them.
Okay. Cool.
I'm sorry.
He said, "You go ahead, Fluke. Good."
No, go ahead, man. I'll follow up with you after you.
I think for me, the question is, it seems like a broad statement. You know what I mean? But it's TV, right? It's sensationalizing, right? They're going to try to make it so it's create some kind of discussion like we're having now. But to me, it's a broad statement to say that great men don't make weak children. Whatever. Like that's just such a broad statement. Now, there will be some that do. There probably is a lot that don't. I don't know the data on it, but anytime I hear those types of things, I just think it's like you said earlier, do some research before you form your own opinion.
Can I get some clarification from Cole from Ankobia? When you say it's a broad, when you say it's a broad statement,
no, not a broad statement. Not a plays on a joint, but no. In this case,
I like the lingo, the play on the words. You're an ultimate genius.
You just can't leave them breasts alone.
Yeah, he's still kind of on the breast joint.
No, go ahead, Jay.
Y'all silly, man.
Hey, look, I just realized you had the 1 for all for one on the sleeve.
Sorry.
That's sick.
You see where's that?
All right, now that's a great damn segue. So between and what I want to do is allow Bruce to chime in after you guys. I need y'all to give us the background of OFAAFO, the beginnings, and eventually get to the founding 13. If you could just shout them out and let them know, even if they're not with you anymore. But just let's talk about your situation, because it's a collective and it's a movement, and most people don't pay attention to the movement. So, Mullins, we'll start with you, and then Ankobia after him.
Well, so I would say I remember vivid. Like, it's always been OFAAFO though, right? It's always been like, so even before it was OFAAFO, we was OFAAFO. Whether they were saying we was too much, or in my community, just everywhere. Like we was just collective as a group, and we kind of had like similar mind states. But I think we was all like good brothers and sisters. The sisters was involved. We was good brothers and sisters wanting to, just felt good about our community and wanted to do best by our community. But OFAAFO kind of came from. I remember being in Pittsburgh, particularly at the time, and it was like the violence was kind of bad. It was really getting bad, like drive-bys, young kids. I was working in detention at the time. I just started working in detention, so I started kind of seeing like that the kids were kind of like victims of like their parents sometimes had some challenges. The community didn't have a lot of resources and things of that nature. And I remember I was just reading a lot at the time, and I used to be like, yo, like we used to depend on all these government subsidized programming, like all these programs, but then they'll snatch it away from us. Like, so Reaganomics, we had programs before Reaganomics, right? So I remember having baseball teams in my community, camps, all these different things. Then Reaganomics hit, then we didn't have it no more. So the baseball coach had to work now, so he couldn't. He had to work 2 jobs to make it happen. So he couldn't be volunteer to teach us baseball no more. So it was like, wow, I want to be able to create some institutions where we supply the financing for it, so it can't be taken away. So for the people, right? So I was like, man, and I'm just looking. I'm looking at a building across the street from our crib over there on 520 North Medley in Pittsburgh. And I'm looking at that building. I was like, damn, that could be a home for kids. You know what I mean? Like, just to start off, like, we had the funding. We could get that. And if we fund it ourselves, they can't take it away. I was like, so, like, how can we get some money to basically start creating these institutions in our community that we could be self-sufficient? I was like, yo, and I remember we used to do T-shirts. We used to do T-shirts, and prior to that, we had a business called YOB, Young Organized Blacks. We did T-shirts. So I was like, yo, so we went to Trees one day. Trees Hall with the basketball court up in Pitt. Everybody go play recreational basketball. And I was like, yo, I'm going to call a meeting amongst all of us. Come up to the crib on this date, and we're going to talk about doing a business, doing something as a group of brothers that we could start this mission to kind of start building institutions for our community so that it could be self-sustained and maybe have a real big impact. And we called a meeting, and 13 brothers showed up, and we'll get into that a little later. 13 brothers showed up, and what up, fam? What up, D?
Danny.
But that was really how it started, like the violence and just being able. We remember times, everybody from different communities, because we was from all over the different places. People was from Pennsylvania, people was from Michigan, people was from Philly and Pittsburgh area, New York, amongst maybe some other places I forget. And as a result, it was like, hey, man, we all had similar backgrounds. We remember things being available to us. And it didn't seem like it was happening at the time for various reasons, drugs, violence, gangs, and things of that nature. So we was like, yo, what can we do? I was like, yo, we used to sell T-shirts. We can sell some T-shirts right now. We start selling some T-shirts. We can make some money. We just got to come up with a name, but let's make some money so that we can basically start that mission to build an institution. So it wasn't about us and about being fashionable or nothing like that at the time. It still isn't to me, but it was more so about creating something so we could build something for the community, in that sense. And we needed a name that represented that as well.
Okay. And Kobe, you kind of like spoke on it when we had our little production meeting yesterday. You kind of spoke on the chronological situation with you guys. If you could speak on that and give us how OFAAFO had impacted you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. First, look, that was well done, son. I mean, it's always difficult to really explain, like, we didn't really come into this to say, oh, we're going to make, clothes and fashion for people to like and wear and become millionaires. So it really was, we want to do something to better the community, right? It just looked bad on us, like how the kids was just like, shit was just out of control. So we created a concept. Like you said, we created one for all for one. With our T-shirts was first, we called the People Collection, which was Brothers and Sisters Together. Remember, that was our first shirt that we were selling. Brothers and Sisters Together. I actually put with the poem on the back, right? So we started selling those to make the money, and it's just picked up. FAAFO came, months after those first couple, after those first T-shirts we were selling. Stop the Violence was our main drawing. We also had Stop Police Brutality, which is really dope. But you'll see that coming soon too. But it was like we designed a concept, one for all for one, working together, posse up. You see it everywhere. Like anywhere, we just talking sports before this, and our teams in basketball, everybody that was champions, they were one for all for one. They were the individuals that was at their best and working amongst the team. So instead of me just coming out and I'm just gonna get 50 every night, forget everybody else, right? I'm gonna ball out, team loses. But I'm gonna cut my points down, go on with the team, let everybody get on, we're gonna win. It's making the sacrifices and stepping up, playing that kind of that game of moving back and forth, doing what you gotta do for the team to win. That's the goal. That's one for all for one. So basically we designed the concept and we started putting it on clothes and people started liking it. We have the distress font. I don't have it on, Bruce has it on, Luke got it on. But you got the distress font because it's hard. This life is hard. I was thinking earlier today, right now, the one thing that everybody on this planet has in common, we're all on the clock. You know what I mean? When we took our first breath, they turned the clock. We're working to our last breath, basically, right? So we're all on the clock. We're all trying to find a way to make it through this experience. To me, this is my opinion of it. And in doing that, OFAAFO helps make it look, gives it a good look and feel. You know what I mean? We're better in the concept of trying to be better. We know that we didn't start off great, right? But over time, we were disciplined. We kept staying at it. We made our mistakes, did our thing, but we stayed with it, and we're able to create something now that we kind of help inspire others to do the same. Like, don't give up. We're on the same mission. We're trying to figure it out. We're not saying you gotta be perfect. I don't know if you heard that on Killer Mike's joint with Dave Chappelle was saying it. You ain't gotta be perfect. Sorry, my laptop's about to die. But yeah. So basically, the concept: one for all for one. 1995. I actually met Loke when they were doing YOB, and they were literally painting figures on T-shirts, and so I bought it, several of them, because they were just so dope. And to be able to feel that paint on a shirt, that was different. I had never seen nothing like that. And then it was young organized blacks. Come on, man. The 90s, that was hot to me. So started talking to them. He called that meeting. We was all at Trees balling, and he called it, which was shocking too, because we wasn't on that shit at all. None of that business really like. We was doing our thing, right? So for people to actually show up at the house and say they was that 13 brothers at that time, young brothers, it says that we're going to try to do something to better the community. It was hard not to be a part of it. And then it became a business. Our connections in the city, we ended up getting some support from some of the well-connected black brothers and sisters in the city. So it was like we were set to do it. And we just started printing shirts and learning the whole printing business. The best thing I think for all of us was we was able to sponsor a student to go to Pitt's writing camp in the summer. So it wasn't just about the clothes. Now we love it, and we want to make you, when you feel it, when you put it on, you're feeling a good quality product with a good, unique design, and behind what you're wearing there's something you could have pride.
Okay. I need guys, if you're watching this, just pay attention to the bottom of the screen, because the website down there, and we have two different collections on there. It's the Black Tag collection, and also Stop the Violent movement. So, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure if the timeline, if you move back to Philly between the time that it's happened or not, or was you a part of the 13?
No, I'm not like a part of the originators or the creators, but they just family. And I like what they do.
Okay.
I try to support wherever I can support as much as possible. But they fan, like y'all fan. You know what I mean? So no, I wasn't a part of the original crew, but I love the message. I love the mission. I love the everything that they communicate that they strive to be. So they my brothers. So I just try to support wherever I can.
Okay.
And Big Dog, can I say real quick?
Yes, sir.
That Biz is wearing the Black Tag collection. It's exclusive collection. I don't know if y'all have seen the boxes that everybody's talking about. Big Dog was mentioning it earlier. But that's the Black Tag collection, comes in the gift box. So Biz was one of the people who've gotten one of those. And they really went out to the first 13 brothers that actually that helped create OFAAFO. So Biz is rocking that now. This is real lovely. What's up, Latif? I saw you kind of blend to. But yeah, Biz is rocking it nice. Dude. That thing's blinging nice.
Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that. You letting me know it was available.
Yeah. For sure.
On the website. Nice website too. Y'all did a hell of a job on that. That's nice.
Yeah, appreciate
the insider. You got the inside.
Thank you.
I like the variety. I like everything about it. The messages that are thrown in here and there, no matter where you navigate on the site, is nice. And congratulations, man. Y'all did a wonderful job. Hell of a job.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, but it was really, YOB was built for that. It was just all in us anyway. Like we say, OFAAFO appeals to you because it's in you. We was on that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like we all been on like that. But like Kobe said, whether it's in your family unit, your work experience, your sporting team, no matter what you do, if you're doing it with more than one person,
I'm right here.
You're doing it with more than one person, you got to be one for all for one to be successful. You know what I mean? Everybody got to be willing to play their part. So it's OFAAFO. It's like everything. It's everything like when I was like OFAAFO versus COVID. COVID was one of them type of situations where OFAAFO would play a big part in our success of surviving it, because that was something literally like if people wasn't on the board and kind of working collectively, we might have had to go deal with it a lot longer than we did. And it's going to be more, unfortunately, it's going to be more situations where it has to be. So it's something that we want to resonate more with the inner you. The clothes is just a billboard to represent it, so get in uniform. But we want to resonate in you. It's more important that it's in you than on you.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, and Jaquari will come to you. Ladies and gentlemen, another friend of the show who came in slurping on the big gulp and shit. Bill Burnett is here. Bill Burnett is with us.
Too much.
That's what it is. See? There it is.
What's up, baby? What's going on, Jim?
What's up, Bill? What up,
Hey,
brother?
what's up, whole Zach? Fluky, what's up, Fluke?
Ain't nothing up, man. What's going on, brother?
Ain't nothing, man. How you doing, bro?
Hey, Jaquari, so
what's happening?
Jaquari, you know these brothers, man. What is your impression of? I see you have one of their long sleeve shirts. What is your impression of?
Oh man, it's just ever since you've been going, ever since you went to Pitt, man. I'm not. It was at 95. You said, using Pittsburgh and everything, man. And I think you were telling me about it on. You were telling me about it on a visit, man. And
Jaquari, excuse me. Bill, you coming in here being obnoxious, brother. Let's go, man.
What I do, man? I spoke to Danny. I can't speak to Danny, big man.
Man, what I'm talking about? You dropping your phone all over the place, man.
I'm trying to set up my camera. Is that all right with you, brother?
Yo, a lot of heat coming off that couch.
You know what I mean?
A lot.
Hey.
Real hot.
Hey, don't make me come around that corner. I know where you at, big dog.
Hey, Key.
Hey, big dog, I know where you at right now.
He like Martin Lawrence scraping the toast
Yeah.
in life. You want to scrape the toes, disturbing everybody?
What's up, Jacoy? What's up, Spoke?
We glad to see that, brother, though, man.
Oh yeah. Go ahead and finish, Jaquari.
I'm sorry, boys. I'm sorry. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm truly inspired, man, to be in the presence of men, man, who not only known each other for over 30 years, but have remained real friends throughout, like, the ebbs and flows of life. It's like, as far as a business concept, man, when I first heard about you guys, it was basically the first example of dudes making moves, with people that they know to try to reach a bigger goal, and I didn't really pay attention to what was going on around me until I heard, what you guys were doing, and then I started to see, things happening in my home community, So yeah, it's pretty big, man, pretty big, And as I was telling the guys before, we started recording and everything, man, I was on a cruise to Bermuda and everything, and on the boat walking to the bar, and the guy's like, "OFAAFO." I was wearing this shirt. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, stood by and rapped to him for a second, and then come to find out, he knows a couple of you guys personally. I can't remember his name, but Dre said somebody sent a picture of me in the shirt, and I'm like, yeah, shit, this is it's a example of how shit gets out, man. Worldwide connection. Ain't no telling where you could be. Ain't no telling where you could be, man. If it's something that's meaningful enough and deep enough, and something you can tell people put time into, it will get out. It will get out.
It's a relationship on site, right? I'm sorry to cut you off, but a relationship on site, like you wouldn't spoke to you otherwise, right? But now you spoke to each other. Now it's a relationship on site.
Exactly.
Damon, you know these guys, and what is your overall impression of what that movement is about to you?
The inception of it, man, is very impressive, man. And when the way these brothers described how they started, it's very impressive. Man, y'all been together for like 28 years now. That's crazy, man. That's longer than most corporations that lasted. You know what I'm saying? And how y'all began doing it, man. It was a righteous cause, man. You know, and I'm very impressed by that. You know, I remember when it started, man. You know, I thought it was started before '95, man, but you know, I was probably wrong. I'm wrong in that aspect, but it's very impressive, man. The way you guys together, you know what I'm saying? Stuck together, committed to it. That means that it's not about I think and Cobra said it's not about the clothes, the fashion, the money. It's about that commitment to the community. You know, and that's deep, and that runs deep into the community, man, and that lasts forever. Can't nobody take that from y'all, man. And it's very impressive, man. Proud of you, Brad. You know, proud of you guys. I'm glad to know y'all, man.
That's good shit.
Appreciate it,
No
bro.
doubt.
It's back to
No
you,
doubt.
too.
William,
I think real quick, Big Dog, let me say something. I think one of the things too, when we say community, it's always been artistic expression, right? Like we're using art to inspire people to be better, right? Be better for themselves, better to others. So we don't want to make people think that we're like out there, because there's people out there doing things in the community heavier than we are
Absolutely.
currently. But that's our goal, to get back to that, right? That we were doing it, but then, you know, it's business. It's trying to make this thing happen, continue to push the concept while you live your life, like we're all doing, right? Trying to find our ways in this journey. So you're trying to balance all of that. So that's been kind of the challenge. But our goal is to get back to, as Luke said earlier, we're going to get back to where we're going to be helping the communities, just like some of the people who's out there. We want to give them a big up, because they're out there doing it every day and get no kind of press, because it's like all the negative gets all the press, which I ain't hating, but they got that part covered. What's not covered is us celebrating more of the part of our culture that's really just continues to be resilient and helping each other grow, less destructive, right? And we're not saying, again, it's not the logo's not perfect, because it's not perfect. It's hard. So you're going to keep getting it together, but you're going to move to perfection. So we have logos that's on more of a perfected level. But again, to your point, we just want to make the clarity that the community is definitely where we're at. For now, we're pushing a beautiful artistic message to our community.
okay,
And the
guys,
fact-
I need you
and
to go ahead, Jaquan.
the fact that you guys have managed not to put yourself in a position that you have to whore yourselves, man. It's
That's
pretty
out.
big, man.
Nah, that's out.
28
That's out.
28 years.
Yeah,
28
oh,
years
no
of
doubt.
grind. Yeah,
That's
28 years
crazy,
of grinding,
man. I mean, you
to
talking
put,
about the
you know,
creativity, man, alone is
You have
mind
the
blowing, bro.
ability. You have the ability to do your own shit. I mean, that, you know, sometimes, man, the slow burn is always the good burn. Hey, Bill. Oh, first, let me just say, pay attention to the bottom of the screen. It's scrolling across. It's the website, OFAAFO95. Go there and you look at all the equipment and you know, equipment, all the gear that's up there, because you gotta understand that what I see these guys are doing is they're throwing themselves into the brand. See, that's why it was imperative for me, because I've been asking them for almost 6 months. Like, yo, this is what we need to do. Why? Because I wanted to do you a favor. Because people need to hear you guys. You need to hear your journey. You feel me? Now, Bill,
Yes, sir.
you and Bruce came on. I asked you guys to come on for a reason. You know these guys.
Yes, I do. Very well. Very well. Very well.
You guys know these guys, these brothers. You know what I mean? As well as myself. But you guys have been around. Y'all was around them the majority of the time. So give us your opinion. Maybe opinion not the right word, but talk about the brand, what it means to you.
OFAAFO.
Yes, sir.
Well, I really wasn't a part of the whole movement. I was just supported them. I never really got involved with the business part of it. I just was there for them, whatever they needed. I always knew it was strong. The logo was strong. The OFAAFO the whole thing was strong, and of course the brothers pushing was awesome dude. So I mean, he always had my support. I can't lie and say I was involved with the creative part. I never really got involved. I don't know if I had graduated by the time they started it. I'm not sure. Or was I maybe in the tail end or something like that. So I didn't really actually get an opportunity to become a part of their team. But I'm still a part of a team, but not a part of actually
family side.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But it's always been a powerful statement, powerful brand, and I wish they had a big and tall section. That's all.
It's coming.
It's coming, man. It's coming, bro. It's coming, bro.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he spoke on that
fun.
earlier.
Listen,
Right.
my opinion of them was all strong, so I know that whatever they got their hands in, I know that's strong too. So, you know what I mean?
The Mo.
Hey, Keith, let me ask you a question.
Mo.
Man.
Go
I
ahead.
remember one time we was in Monroeville, man, and they was talking about putting something together. Was that OFAAFO?
Who was there? Come on, man. You know I'm old, man. Give me a little bit more.
We was all in Monroeville, man, and they were talking about T-shirts and stuff like that. I thought, was that OFAAFO or was that something else?
Yeah. You remember that one time?
T-shirts. I was always trying to do some T-shirts.
You remember that one time when I asked you to tie your shoe?
Yeah,
I don't know,
the man was wearing the hat.
I was asking, like, who he asked that?
Yeah,
Hey.
he was tall.
Hey.
He was wearing a blue hat.
Okay. Now, you know I'm keeping tally, right?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, damn, son.
Hey, but I
you-
think
like
I think it might have been them, because I think we was either if I'm faintly remember, we went out to Monroeville Mall. And we
Yeah.
were just walking around. It was something like that. Oh yeah, I got your back, brother. Yeah. That's where we were.
Thank you.
I
we
think
had gear in Monroeville Mall. Didn't we have? We had.
I think so.
That's right.
Mo,
I think that's why it was out there. Yeah.
No, I think we did have it out there too.
All right, where the jokes at?
I was just tripping off the when you tie your shoe, Fluke. I was like, that.
I think Bill said it though, right? He said,
It's all right. It was my turn.
Said too much. He's saying that like we always move like that, right?
Yeah.
We moved as a collective, right? Why they say too much? Y'all got too much posse. Like
Right.
It's deep on certain occasions, and we formed Voltron. We was together, all in that type of regard. That's just always been the mission. So I think the reason why Bruce and Bill really wasn't part, because I think y'all was already gone.
Right.
They
Y'all was already out of the town by the time
They were
we came up
gone
with that.
because I left in '95.
Right, you
moved
left
down to North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And I was already gone, so that's the only reason y'all wasn't there. Because otherwise, but y'all, man, this is for all of us, man. Once we get on, like, we gonna do it, like, you know what I'm saying, like. But
what's up, Weezy? Weezy Thompson over there. Remember that more?
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey, look. Let me just say this, and just Jaquar, we're gonna get into your halftime segment, brother. What is important? These guys were talking about it because I was older and I was working in Pittsburgh, right? And me and Bill were friends. Matter of fact, me and Bruce was roommates, which was fucking hilarious.
Wow.
But
That was a big dog and little pup.
Big dog, little pup.
hey, look.
Yeah.
No, for real. Bruce,
I thought we were all for one. But...
Bruce, no, hold on. You ain't let me finish. Bruce was a hell of a damn roommate.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, I could definitely know that.
The point is, the only time I had issue with him is one time. This was early on when he moved in, right? He came home and had like 6 turkey wings and baked them motherfuckers and sat there and ate them motherfuckers right in my face. I'm like,
goddamn lie.
I said to myself, I should take these motherfuckers.
He got me confused with Slim P.
Slim P, man. No, I'm pull out that little sheet. I think it's a little sheet.
You owe me.
But look, let me just say this. For real, you guys, and we'll cover this after Jaquar's segment. I want you guys to talk about, and you don't have to go way into it, but some of the hardships and the roadblocks that you met and some of the lessons you came from. All right. Now, I say this because you guys, I call you guys a collective because everybody had different agendas and was living their own life, but that you guys had that connection as friends. And that's some good shit, man, because it's not rare, but the longevity is fantastic.
Mm.
It's fantastic.
It was over 30 years, I think, Big Dog, maybe now.
Something like that.
Going to 28.
Yeah.
Closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's
Ja'Cory,
longer than that.
it's on you, bro.
Yeah. This is name of my segment is Uncle Spo's Sake, and I was having a conversation with a buddy of mine, man, and he's talking to me about his son, and something to the effect of he was dealing with being bullied at school or whatever because for some strange reason him being taken care of, wearing nice shoes and his clothes is pressed and clean or whatever. Apparently that's a strike against you nowadays. I didn't understand it, but I asked him, well, have you ever, when you were a child, did you go through like a similar period? And he said, yeah. I said, well, did you talk to him about it? Did you tell him how you was able to deal with it and get through it? And he said, no, I told him to punch a motherfucker in the face. And I said, well, okay, yeah, that's an option for a solution. Yeah, but if you shared your failures with your son, I think that would put him on the road to success a little better than when you only tell him about the good shit. You know what I mean? And I told him, I respect and appreciate your strength and your resolve and your fortitude, but is very little that your son can learn from those successes. He can only learn how to deal with the good times. I absolutely hurt for a man who can't sit down and honestly talk to their kids about their fuck ups. Failures. We hold shame, for our failures, but then there's no shame in failure. The shame is is solely in quitting. Let me see. I know so many like grown folks who don't talk to their kids about when they got caught slipping as kids themselves, and their kids fall into the same traps that they fell into. Let's be honest with our kids. Let's truly teach our kids. Teaching moments present themselves each and every day. I'd rather have my child learn from something that's relatively small in the moment, but if I can relate that to something that kind of fucked me up at the time I was a kid, and have them learn from that, I would much rather have that that happen than for me to have to go back and support them through something that I'd already been through. So as parents, man, let's be honest with our kids, man. Let's be honest with young people who we want to have an impactful relationship with. Because like I said, man, we our community is notorious for teaching our young folks how to celebrate. And we're notorious. We're notorious for teaching our children how to withstand the tough times, and keep on pushing. But what about that period in the middle? That period in the middle is very important to their development. Let's be honest with them, man, and get them through it. Man, that's what Spo say. Uncle Spo say. Yeah.
Appreciate that, dog. Definitely.
Can I say something to that too?
Yeah, go ahead,
Just
bro.
in general, I think when I look at Facebook, you look at social media and things of that nature, and like now we're getting older, so we see people passing away and stuff like that, right? Unfortunately, as it comes with age. But like one thing my wife brought to my attention one time, she was like, "What they die of? What they die from?" Like we don't share that, right? So a lot of times we out here, and just sometimes you might hear like, "Oh, something happened with somebody." It might make you more inclined to go be more progressive about how you take care of yourself. But if it's just out there left on a limb, so to speak, what I mean? Like some people, somebody will say, "Well, you do it anyway," but everybody don't move like that. And sometimes you might be like, "Yo, man, well, that person passed. And I know it's a private thing, don't get it twisted too. But in a way, like things are happening around us and we're not sharing it. So, we kind of fall on victim to it. And I think it kind of speaks to what the boy was speaking to too. Like when we don't share some of the things that we're going through, we're more inclined to repeat them, as they would say, right? And I think that's one of that's significant in that regard as well.
It's
Yeah,
the
but
whole
what
sins
you
of the father concept.
yeah, but what you value is it do that speak to your character, man, or is just dressing? You know what I'm saying? Because as I understand the point you was making, I grew up and I ain't have designer shit, man. You know what I'm saying? And that was a struggle. So my mind was when I had started having my kids was to make sure that wasn't a problem for them. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that they can glorify, but not be a problem. It was just as simple as that for me. Cause you going to school and your gear ain't tight. What up, Cal?
Miller.
Yeah,
What's going
What's
on,
the
bro?
deal?
Miller.
My brothers,
Yes,
my
What's going
brothers.
on, brother?
What up, family? Been ripping and running, but I was
We
pressed
know.
to get here. I said I
Yeah.
got to
you
get
already
there.
know. You
Hey,
already
no,
know.
no. What I tell you? I tell you, take your time. We're gonna be waiting on you. You know what I'm
It's all,
saying?
oh
We
man,
here.
it's all love, man. This done made my day for sure.
Hell
No
yeah.
doubt.
What up,
No
I'm
doubt.
family?
plugged in. As long as the electricity don't go off, I'm on.
Hell yeah.
Welcome
Yo,
to you,
so
brother. Welcome.
what's
Yeah.
the deal?
Hey, Fluke. After you done, we're gonna come down to Kev because you new to the show, so you got to talk to us, brother. You got to tell us about yourself and all of that. All right. So
Got you.
be prepared. All right,
My
Fluke. Go ahead and finish.
my only point is, man, the things that our kids have a tendency to value, man, we provide it, man, just so it won't be a issue. I
That's real.
think.
That's real. Okay. All right, ladies and
Wait.
gentlemen.
Before we move, can we make sure we come back to that designer piece he just talked about? Because I think that's goes back to another reason why we're doing how we're doing our business. You raised a good point about
Yeah.
not having designer things as a kid, and that the whole idea of not having. We
No
want to
doubt.
come back to that. That's a big point for us.
Oh,
No
we
doubt.
ain't got to come build on that. What was your thought? What was you going to say?
Oh,
No,
no.
I mean, this is your floor,
Hey,
son.
Kev,
I'll get to it.
you
I'll get to
kidding
it.
me?
Well,
I'll get to it.
what's the deal?
First of all, you are. This is old hat for you, brother. This is old hat for you. So, don't you got to give us something. You know what I'm saying? No, for real. Tell us about who you are, where you at. You know what I mean? And then once you're done, talk about OFAAFO to you, what it means to you. Okay?
Yeah. So man, the name is Kevin Miller. Affectionately known as Kev Miller. One of the original, been around from day one, from the YOB, you name it, the whole nine. Um, Number of things going on right now. Still working with youth in communities and families. The building block, it was kind of what we talked about back in the day, preceding OFAAFO. It was talking about, still trying to do my due diligence in being an active participant in building the communities, one child, one family at a time. The work don't stop. Um, and the grind is real. You know what I mean? Uh, from the time that we had started this whole concept, the original vision, we used to liken it to like the United Way. We envisioned having a hub and a place where kids could come, learn things like financial literacy, learn things like graphic design, uh, and have a space of authenticity and uniqueness where beyond the creative expression and the art and the design and all of that unique stuff, it would be almost like a storefront thing where we'd be teaching kids speaking, interacting with others. And so it really ran such a gamut. You know what I mean? And the work is still going on. You know, right now, like you heard me say, still trying to build up this community. I'm the chaplain and dean of students at Imani Christian Academy, it's a little small private school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Um, Coming off of a strong year, our basketball team won
Champions.
yeah,
I saw that.
yeah,
I saw that.
champions on the region, champions of the state, and now it's kind of back to the drawing board. You know what I mean? The building never stops. Um, so for me, school starts Monday. I was torn because I had some orientations today. So, just leaving, dealing with school, with children and family in preparation for next week. Excited about this opportunity to be on this call with my brothers. Excited to be able to talk and spread the word about OFAAFO and the things that are still going on. You know what I mean? The creative expression in the platform that OFAAFO creates for others. You know, we talk about it in a variety of ways, but if you understand, you know, the essence of something like a T-shirt, you know what I mean? T-shirts have been used as platforms for voice and expression to give people identity, to bring about a synergy, to spread a mass message. I mean, if you think about how the role of the T-shirt is played in some of the major movements, you just name it. You know what I mean? And we're just trying to build on that. We understand that individuals make moves, but people make movements. And so we're trying to create a collective energy. And that's really my perspective of OFAAFO. It's the power of collectivism. You know what I mean? One for all for one, because in it, you can't overlook things like family. You can't overlook or minimize things like unity. You can't, you know what I mean? Synergy and momentum, all these things as, you know, it's that old saying. A candle loses absolutely nothing in terms of its power in lighting another candle. And so we're just trying to spread this fire. You know what I mean?
This brother done gave a mission statement, yo.
I know.
OFAAFO mission statement.
You gotta let it speak.
So it's all real. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's one of the things that I can't turn down. You get me talking about this, you know, believe it or not, those that know me will tell you, outside of this, I'm a relatively quiet guy. I sit back and observe a lot. But this needs to be talked about. And this thing needs to be, through communication, it needs to be spread. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what we're looking to do. We're looking to create these platforms that will go and create this momentum, this synergy, because the reality and the truth of the matter is, as people, we have more in common. Like, we're more similar than we are different. But unfortunately, we live in a time that wants to create all this anti and wants to bring about all of our individualism, and we got to squash that. Like, yeah, there's power in individualism because we all bring unique things to the table. But at the end of the day, when it comes to life and it comes to just a value system, we all share more than we have different. You know what I mean? Don't nobody have to teach you about right. You know when something ain't right. But unfortunately, what happens is, you know, we get into a space now where we try to treat right as questionable, and we know that it's not. And the only way that you can get the truth out of stuff is somebody, because I use this term all the time when I think about OFAAFO, somebody got to have the audacity to spark it. Somebody, something. And so that's what we do. We have the audacity to bring things to light and bring things to the table that other people may just talk about in their private, small little sectors. Like, nah, let's get at it. Let's talk about it. Let's build.
Get in uniform.
Get in uniform. For sure. Yo, teamwork makes the dream work all day.
That's all day.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys, and I know we've spoken about this topic, you know, several times on this platform, and so it's like beating a dead horse. But what's a two-part question. Number one is what's your stance on the whole no snitching thing that goes on in our communities, and number two is, do you guys like have a piece that addresses that?
We'll start with you,
I would say this. So I was sorry. So I worked in juvenile detention. Thanks to y'all brothers, that Big Bill, Big Dog, y'all got me into the career. And, I was able to do a long 30 years in it and go a long way. If y'all would have never put me on to, I wouldn't be on it. But I say that to say that I like to tell people, snitching to me is if we collectively said we was going to do something that wasn't right, and then I get caught, or one of us get caught, and we decide to tell on the other. That's the only way I think that snitching really. That's the only definition of snitching to me. It's a very, like, because I think the only people snitching is let me say this the right way. The problem is that the people that you go to tell about the information are snitching on you, telling that you told the information, putting you at risk sometimes, right? So that's where the distrust came in, right? Because they don't give two craps about who gave the information. They just care about getting the information. So, and I'm not saying that's all. So it's not a blanket statement. But I'm just saying a lot of times snitching to me is going to happen if we collectively say we're going to do something, and then somebody gets caught and says, I'm going to tell them the rest. That's the only way I think snitching even exists. Now they try to make all these different things. Civilians can't snitch and all the different, like all this stuff. But no, if we did something together and then all of a sudden I got caught and I told on you, then I snitched on you. But the community needs to be able to use the resources involved to better the community, because 95% of the people in the community ain't trying to do nothing that's wrong. They trying to work hard and do what they have to do to get by in life like everybody else. So they're like, oh, my neighbor. But when you have somebody say something,
I was gonna say, I think the court talking about, like, if I'm wrong, if I'm correct you, it's like if somebody see a crime, like say come outside and you see somebody get shot in the middle of the street, and the cop say, "You see what happened?" No, I ain't see it. I don't know nothing. I don't see that. That's what you're talking about, right, Jacory? That type of snitching.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let
that's
me clarify real fast. Let me clarify real fast. Okay, there's snitching and then there's ratting. Snitching is something that along the lines of what Dre was talking about, and ratting, in terms of the people that I deal with, ratting is regular citizens calling the police. And
I think that's unfair though.
And they think that the consequences should be the same.
Right, and I think that the only reason I'm saying that is that the community, like people in the community, don't have the wherewithal, like a lot of the even the wherewithal to combat the little small percentage that might be willing to just shoot up the block, for instance, right? But they don't want their block shot up, and then there's an entity that's supposed to help you with that, and you should be able to comfortably be able to go to that entity and report that if that happened.
Right.
But if you can't go to that, but if you go to that entity and they like saying, "Oh, Miss Mary in the window told her, she be telling all the time." Now nobody wants to speak to what's going on in the community because it's not in their best interest. They're not going to be safe. So now what you have is shooting up, and like it's no, like when I grew up, I would say this: there was a day, a time, and a place where people basically did a lot of these shoots. For the most part, right? It was something to it for the most part. Like it wasn't nobody coming. Like you couldn't even like it was. I mean, my neighborhood. I would say maybe I'm definitely privileged. You come in the playground at 3:00 in the afternoon and shoot up that neighborhood. The neighborhood, even the gangsters are gonna be like, "Son, you can't do that."
I get it.
So now it's happening because everybody's scared to death to say anything. There's no OFAAFO community-wide. Everybody's part of the community. So if I can't go to the very people that's supposed to prevent some of this stuff, then that's why you got a situation where it's scary out here.
But let me add to this, because now I've been in law enforcement for 30 years, and everybody on this screen and other people out there know what kind of person I was. You understand? Straightforward, that type of person, right? It is foolishness for somebody to be angry at a citizen who's afraid of danger. It's not because he's in line or she's in line with these thugs out here. No, because me, law enforcement, can't be there 24 hours a day.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It is, I remember, and I don't know why I remember this dude, Busta Rhymes, made a song about snitching. And I lost complete and total respect for him. You want to know why? Because he's telling citizens not to snitch. Now, I understand if a citizen, I've been on calls where this woman or this man feared for their lives, man. But they were brave enough to tell me and point me in the right direction. Me. Listen, if I don't take it in my own hands, somebody got to do something about it. Or be logical. If I'm able to move. But I am so sick of us being weighted down by narratives that don't make sense. They don't make sense. You expect people to really and truly feel bad if they call police on somebody who's terrorizing the neighborhood. So my neighbor ain't gonna speak to me no more. I don't give a flying fig that you don't speak to me no more, but I want this to stop. Why is it that this question is to all you guys? Even though we went to this, I want to get back to OFAAFO, man. But this is a question to all you guys. Why is it that our community is so stigmatized and be weighted under every different kind of scenario, what we should or should not do, what, everything. We had a sister on last week, right? And then I'm gonna give the question, you guys. We had a sister on last week. Very good heart, wonderful heart, the whole nine. She had horrible experiences working at her job, and she spoke on it. And it just so happened the bad experiences that she had was with Black men, right? So she felt a certain kind of way. And what it was, she was speaking from her pain. More than anything. It wasn't her opinion, because the hour prior to that, she was talking about how she was helping these young brothers and trying to steer them in the right direction. But then she spoke from her pain. And she said everything that you wouldn't expect her to say, like, oh, wait a minute. Because we should be feeling some kind of way when I tell a motherfucker that he is a horrible human being, but he Black though. You can't talk that about Black folk. Why? He's a terrorist. He's a terrorist in the community. His mama and his dad is scared of him. So I can't say a bad thing about him. I should feel embarrassed that I said something bad about this man. Of course he needs help if he needs help now. Don't get me wrong. But my point is, why are we so weighted down, that's the question, by so many stereotypes? And that's an open-ended question. Go ahead.
Before we move on, I just want to, also put in there, like, I have no particular confidence, I guess I would say, that the police are going to come and solve your issue. No disrespect to to your past profession, Keith. That's a whole different podcast, but when we put out there that okay, these people can freaking run amok in our community with no checks and balances, and basically get away with it because either we're scared or we're just apathetic to our neighbors. Hell, we don't have a Batman, so if you want me to stop snitching, give me. If you want me to stop snitching, and you don't want the police around our communities or whatever, give me another alternative. That's what I'm saying.
What they say, Batman? I saw something that said Batman used to he never went after the Wall Street people. He always went after the low income people. Batman was the biggest racist in comics. But you know what? Forget the question I put out there. Let's do this. Now we got Kevin here. Just give us maybe one or two things that you guys ran into that could have been a roadblock, but you overcame. And we'll start with you and Kofi. Go ahead.
Chris, I'm gonna drop one thing, but all this is OFAAFO though. So what you speaking to? That's why I even started, because it was these situations happening in our community that was it was going too far. It used to be a time and a place, like you over there doing that at this time. When it starts the cup running over, where anybody can be victimized by it, that's when the situation is really too far. You always have an element, but the element gotta be in its place. That's all I wanted.
I went on that rant because it is what it is. I went on that motherfucker, but
we're glad you're back.
Look, first of all, it's gonna sink in a little later what I said.
Oh no, I hear it loud and clear, son. But what Luke said is facts. This is OFAAFO, and I think in early, to answer your question about the obstacles, from day one it was an obstacle. There's nothing. It was nothing but obstacles. I was telling Biz, I had to call my partner Biz and about to get off the wagon. So I had to, get back on the wagon because it's like it's just so much that when you're doing it by yourself, as we talked about earlier, if you want to keep we want to keep the brand our brand, and we had people. We turned down some opportunities to have less than 51%, but that's why it's a longer road. But every day, me and Luke Miller's meeting, talking, figuring out another way to advance the concept. At the end of the day, it's advancing the concept. So everything's been an obstacle, really. But
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
in the beginning, like what we had to learn, one of the toughest lessons for me was the vending events, which we're starting to do again now. But on our first couple of vending events, man, we had to get up early and we'd be out all night in these different cities and just getting up at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to set up for vending, to be out in the sun all day. That took some time getting accustomed to. Running a business and just staying when you got that many people, 13 brothers that are and they're starting their careers. Like we were all really like starting. You heard Bill and Bruce had already left. They were starting. People was graduating and starting careers and moved. So you moved. Biz and Bill was already gone. I think Suave, like Knobs, everybody was already back in Philly. Most are just going back. But I think it got down to when Bugsy went to DC, Bugsy and Core went to DC. Hooch and D had already gone, graduated, left. And so it was me, Loke, Burt, Miller, still in the Burg. And then Loke left. Then I left. And Huggies is still in the Burg holding it down. So it's like, to be able to still manage a business virtually. You remember when we moved in 98, 99, I mean, when we first moved to these different cities, me and Luke tried to do interstate commerce. There was no such thing. We had to go to 2 separate banks and get them to kind of work on, moving money around. It was very difficult. Like today, now you could do that right now on the phone, you could do that in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. You know what I mean? So it's like, that was big. But to be able to have this call now and still see the items that people are wearing on the call and knowing that people's getting good OFAAFO, and you can have a conversation like this around something as volatile as snitching, right? Which when y'all was talking about raise the question, I was started thinking like, yo, we're sitting here talking about somebody terrorizing your community, and we don't say anything, like we just let it happen because we don't want to be considered a snitch. And I'm not saying I don't have a really either way. What I will say is this, though, in my opinion of it, it's historically it's always been that with us, right? In our communities, that they introduce, they say crack was the main thing. They introduce it, and then it's up to us to say, nah, we ain't messing with that. It reminds me of the Italians, which they say, oh, we're not doing the drug thing. We'll do all the other wild stuff, but we're not going to welcome drugs into the neighborhood because it's bad. But then supposedly we said, oh, it's great. We're going to do it. But I think there's a sense of responsibility that we have as individuals first to say, look, I'm going to try to be a better person. I got to think through how I'm going to handle this situation that is happening. It goes back to what I said. We're all on the clock. So we're all trying to figure out every moment how to find happiness, because heartbreak is way easier to get to than heart fulfillment, right? So being angry and frustrated and mad, that's easier to access than heart fulfillment, where it seems like that's a lot of work. You gotta do some things. You gotta work on yourself. You gotta be disciplined and keep doing something over and over again, like your diet. As Luke said earlier, when people's dying, and if it's from heart disease and things, we've been eating. You eat like this for this many years. That's the end result. If you have more forums to talk about this, someone just hearing it may be able to change your life. So that's the inspiration of OFAAFO, right? So hearing that obstacles in those days, everything was an obstacle. Having these conversations was tough to have in the city. So what we did was we started joining with other companies, other small businesses that was growing, and started meeting at Donsville's restaurant, meeting up with everybody, talking through business things, the things that was going on, city council meetings, everything. We started doing that, but then we all moved. So that fell apart. So it's really trying to revive it virtually now. where we should have more of these conversations. We talk about these concepts of snitching. I'm not saying we got to come up with a solution. I think just the awareness, people just being aware to think through it without feeling the pressure of, wait a minute, I don't even want to say the word because I don't want to be considered in that space of, a snitch. And it's crazy because it goes back to when I was on a call last with y'all, and we was talking about nigga. And we just, it was like, say the N-word, don't say nigga. Like, and I'm thinking it's a word, and we're spending most of our time on how we feel, to Big Dog's point about stereotypes. But what someone's going to think about me saying it. Well, if they think that's what you got to deal with. You just got to accept it, or we don't. That's my obstacles.
I think, man, what we have to accept, within ourselves, man, is that, like Ankobia spoke about, when you hurt, man, hurt, pain, all that's real time shit, man. I'm saying that happens in real time. I'm saying, and you react in an emotional way. But on the other side of it is wisdom. I'm saying, what you struggled with. If somebody, the worst person, not the worst person, I'm not gonna say that. The biggest contradiction in the world to me is a person to say, I ain't no snitch, man, I'm about to code, whatever, until it happens to you. Until it happens to you. And then you want everybody to come together and say, hey, man, who hurt my loved one, man? Do y'all know what's happening? You know what I'm saying? You see how silly that is?
Yeah.
That is the most silliest shit in the world. Because when it comes to snitching, who get hurt the most? Our babies and our women. You know what I'm saying? Men, we took on this persona like, I'm going to deal with it how I deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But who get affected the most? The people that we're trying to protect the most. If you in the game and you get jammed up, do your time, man. Don't come with that clown bullshit, man. Don't nobody want to hear that. Dude, you was in the game and you got caught up. Now you want to start snitching? I don't respect a brother like that. So in terms of snitching, I'm with that part of it. But when Miss Ann was the victim of a drive-by shooting, sleeping in her house peaceably, those cats who did the deed need to bring that clown, on the forefront and say, this the dude who did it. Because she's an innocent victim. That's how it should go. But if you in the game, man, don't nobody want to hear you crying and complaining about doing less time. You know that was a part of it, man. We shouldn't even be having this discussion, man.
Exactly. What he say? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time.
Right.
I mean, sir.
The white man with the parrot singing that song.
Beretta.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I couldn't remember the name.
Hey, Kev. So
that was Sammy Davis Jr. Now, come on.
Yeah, it was. Kev. So what?
Out of here with that, man.
Do you see any your view, your perspective of the obstacles through the journey?
It's kind of an unspoken, but a true challenge is being a brother at all times, being present, because life comes at you fast, and it happens in real time, and we all need supports, and so in those transitions, being there for one another. Unconditionally, being there for one another, silently, but just being present goes a long way, because this too shall pass. And when we get on the other side of this, there's ground to make up, there's things to recover in situations like that, but you never want someone to feel alone or isolated. That's the problem that's plaguing society at large. Even when we get to talking about snitching and things of that nature, another way to really look at that outside of criminality and all that other kind of stuff is from the perspective of an absence of ownership. Like, in other words, there's certain communities, things don't happen because it's a standard in the culture that we don't do that around here. Like, you must not be from these parts to bring that up in here. But because there's an absence of ownership and anyone can do anything at any time, and everybody feels, well, who am I to say something? If you felt like the community was yours, you feel obligated to say something. Like, hold on, time out. We don't do that around here. You feel what I'm saying? And so there needs to be a standard community wide where we need to see, because what happens, it's that whole thing. It's the opposite side of it takes the village. See, because that's the opposite of the village. In the village, you'd be like, oh, time out. Come on now. Why are we bringing this element? Why are we bringing this energy? Why are we doing, you know what I mean? Like, if you think about back in some of the earlier movements, and I'll think about something like a Black Panther movement, you know, the collectivism of the men at that time was so strong on the empowerment of the community. Like, in other words, they don't get enough credit. They came up with the concept of what the government now calls WIP. Like, they was going around looking after single moms, this, that, and the third. And so part of the problem, they were trying to, and they were okay with monitor and governing their own and all of those type of things that are just absent now. You know what I mean? And so because that's absent now, and we live in a time of strong opinion, and people don't want to, you know, we live in a time, this absent, time of strong opinion, high emotions. And so now people silently agree because they don't have the courage to have the conversation to speak of any form of disagreement, even though they don't agree with it. And so so when we talk about OFAAFO creates those spaces like, well, hold on, if we want to be the change that we want to see, you can't change what you're not willing to address. And you got to talk about some things. You know what I mean? Like, when you get into the criminality and stuff like that, you know, some of that's like occupational hazard. You know what I mean? Like it just comes along with the choices you make. The boy that decides he wants to work for the bomb squad, when that bomb go off and he's sitting in the ICU half a man, that just came along. There were other departments. Like, yeah. there were some other options that could have been taken. Yeah. So, you know, those are just things that, but like you said, it's unfortunate. You know, I don't really want to get it. I think it's along the lines of what they call subjective morality. We know right from wrong, and we'll take a mute pause, or we'll just fall back until the wrongness falls in our circle.
Right.
And then all of us, well, if wrong is wrong, speak on it.
Right. Speak on it all the time.
Because in the absence of speaking on it, when it's evident and present, when it falls in your circle, you seem critical or hypocritical because now you got something to say. But when such and such had to deal with it, you was on mute.
It's hard though.
And that's the type of consistent energy. That's the type of consistent dialogue that it takes to create and promote change, the change that we all want to see.
That requires courage, though.
That's my take. Yeah, that would be my take.
That requires courage.
For sure.
Right. Not as it pertains to not it happening to you, but you seeing it before it happens and saying, you know what, I want to protect, you know, those around me. So none of us have to experience it. So yeah, that takes courage, man. Hey man, well, hey.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate your words, bro.
But I bought.
Go ahead, Jaquari.
No, I mean, I wanted to ask that question, man, because you know I was on the YouTube rabbit hole looking at all the rappers just getting arrested and put in jail and everything, and you know they're snitching, but they're also complaining about their treatment while in confinement. Now, I'm a humane person, man, you know, and I think everybody, no matter what the circumstance, deserves, off the strength of being a human being, a certain level of treatment, you know. But once the chickens come home, man, and they get fat off all your bullshit, and then it's time for you to eat them chickens, man. You need to take your fill. You need to take your fill, man. You can't terrorize a community, and then when you go and get addressed by some stronger goons or whatever, then you want to use the same resources that you fucking screamed against, from the beginning.
It happens all the time.
But people just convenient though, right? I mean,
Right.
this people been nowadays. There ain't no code. The code is me.
No, but
Period. So,
hey, Dre,
But it's about self-preservation too.
this is all it's about.
Always.
Like,
That's all it is, self-preservation.
That's what I'm saying. It's convenience.
That's what it is.
It's on the porch and
Dre.
saw little Johnny shoot little Mike down the street. Parker, you see what happened? You know, Mike got brothers, Mike got homies. You go to court for the next 2 or 3 years on gonna testify against this boy. What can happen to her? Happen to her grandkids.
Right. Where am I gonna go? I gotta go. Like, where am I gonna go? I don't have the resources to leave.
Right.
You don't put a cop in front of my door all day. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go to market. My kids gotta go to school. So at some point, I understand why people don't snitch.
Exactly.
But I think it's this though, right?
It's about safety. But Dre, before you go into that, I need you to give us.
No, I'm gonna give you the obstacles. But I'm saying this: the problem is the minority of everything are running the majority. So when you talk about the minority owns all the wealth, the majority fall victim to that. The majority, like if somebody come onto my block right now and set up on that corner and try to hustle, I bet you just block me together real quick. It's like, nah, you ain't bringing down our property value. You ain't doing that.
Yeah.
People that walk by each other every day, it's about economics and things of that nature.
Hey, Fluke,
I think
ownership, like Miller said.
Fluke, let him get his. He needs to respond to what we're talking about.
But no, when you talk about obstacles, it's so many though. But it's I don't know the word obstacles, but like things that just come up. Like you got 13 people at any given time, 5 that doing something that they really never did before. Right? So now there's different ideas on how it should be done. And people on different levels at any given time of the business, right? So it's like, oh, I'm here for the community aspect. I'm here for the fashion aspect. And all of it trying to blend all that together, right? You're trying to be social, have a social movement, have some, like do something for the community at the same time, make something that's equitable to the people, like that's something that people want, right? So it's like, hey, how do you mend them both? And then young and old, just egos of men, right? Just the ego of men. Speaking for myself in general, right? You know what I mean? Just like, oh, my way, but my way. All these different type of things that come into play when you just bring people that have passion to get something done. I think as you get older now, you kind of get a little bit in our careers, you get a little better at hearing things out and trying to work it out and put things in the proper perspective. But over the years, it's like just kind of everyone's kind of having a different view at any given time on what should be being done, right? And just all kind of being new to it. Like nobody here is in this business. We learn it as we go. So we all have our different views on how it should take place. And sometimes just trying to put all that together to come out with an answer sometimes can be challenging. And like me, so what I'm a type person where I'm like, shit, we ain't gonna know nothing unless we try, right? And some people like, but you could lose everything if you try the wrong way. So just different. It's just that was a challenge. Us leaving and going to separate places when you didn't have the entities that we have today. Like today, me and Cole could talk every day. Me and Miller, we all could talk every day. Like we in 520 North Negley again, and be able, like somebody has over here, ask them about their creative process. How often do they get together to come up with new concepts? Now we can come together every day. But when you're talking about 20 years ago, being in different states, we went from being together every day to being separate now. So now the phone calls is the phone call that, like Cole said earlier, the ability to do business now. I can get on the phone right now and start a business in 10 minutes. Back in the days, it was just too hard to mend all those things together. So that was a challenge in itself. Like I was talking about a black Facebook long before way back in the 90s, like, yo, we need some type of platform where we all get together just with that OFAAFO mindset that turned out to maybe be a Facebook, but just it wasn't a thing that wasn't even feasible at that time, especially for us. So I think that was the hardest part, just being apart. If we just stayed kind of longer together, I think we might have a different outcome. But I don't regret that because early success might have learned. We all here living today. We all here. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, man, if we hit that success earlier, Lord knows what might have happened. We still friends. We still here. Like, so I cherish all that tough stuff over what I don't know what could have happened, but I just know we here and probably could do better by the success that might come by it than you might have been able to do. I might have wrapped a car around a tree back when I was 28 if I had billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? You never know, millions of dollars. So I might have been wilding out in the world. I wasn't mature enough, and Lord knows what else. Who knows? Or maybe I would have rose to the occasion. I don't know, but I know we're here now, and I like our opportunity. But those were some of the challenges, you know, just people, the passion and wanting to do it, and just but being separate was kind of the hard part. That was the hard part at the time.
Well, let me say this real quick, and you guys, great comments, man. You know what I mean? I asked these questions for a reason. So,
Hey,
me,
are you ready to go to another question, bro?
I'm getting ready to talk, sir.
Well,
If you need to speak, I got you. But
no, I don't need to speak. No, Bruce was saying something, man, that I was,
So be
he
out.
was saying something. And
I
Wait,
want to
hurt
say,
you in a
I want
minute.
to say anything.
not Bruce, but Bill. Bill was saying something, man, that I wanted to hear what he was trying to say, but he got cut off.
you
But
got cut off when?
huh?
You got cut off when?
That's on
This
self-preservation.
time?
No, you were talking about anyway. You were talking, man, and I was listening to what you were saying. I want you to finish your point.
Was it about self-preservation?
Yeah, that was the last
Yeah,
thing he said was self-preservation.
yeah,
I think I did finish the point, but basically just saying how I can't be mad at certain people who gotta preserve themselves. I mean,
right,
some it just you talk for fiction and stuff is delicate because at some point when you put your family at jeopardy, they listen. We've all listened. I've seen shit let it go. I ain't saying I've seen a lot of shit. I've seen my own boys do stuff and ain't saying nothing, let it turn off the cheek. And that's just a part of suffering. I'm not going to It's like the old lady on the porch. She see something go down. What she want? Tell you, little Johnny, he got 4 brothers. He got 3 or 4 gang members with him. And he did it. You don't go to court
right,
3 years testifying. You go to court, take 3 years to go to the anyway.
Right.
And I work. We all work. We all work with kids at some point. I work with some sick dudes, man. Some sick young boys, especially in Pittsburgh. Some sick ass dudes, man, who will kill everybody in your family. So at some point, self-preservation. And cops can't protect you. For real, for real. If they move you out the house, move you, in Montana somewhere. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's no fiction. I think it's more like the rap era card that crap too and all that. That's just talk. If the Italian mob went down, everybody started switching on each other. That's how the mob got broken up.
Right.
Everybody was switching on each other.
Right. It's part of the game. It's
Yeah,
part of the
part
game.
But ain't no rules.
they don't roll. Yeah,
right.
but
So,
I just want you to finish your point, man, because I was following you, man, and you didn't get to finish.
yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah.
all right, well, look, let me just say this because everybody on the screen, I've had a conversation with it. So, really and truly, as far as the no fish snitching thing, it has a lot to do with whatever. And real quick, you go with what is in your heart.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Because I've seen people, my 30 years, fearless because they were tired. You understand? They weren't community activists. They were just everyday people going to work. So, look, let me tell you this. I've had conversation with everybody on this screen. And I can say that I've had personal conversation with each and every one of you. And the reason why was not to discover who you are because I had a pretty good idea from what you say to me. You know why? Because I paid attention to who you are. And the only reason why I could pay attention to who you are because I found out who I was. A lot of our actions always stems from us not knowing who we are or not or on shaky grounds as human beings. Like somebody could do something that would piss me off, right? But it won't stop me from doing the right thing because I wanted to be petty and vindictive. Now, am I saying that I'm a unique human being and all this? No. I wanted you guys, as we're sitting here, because the question I ask you for a reason. Not to discover some great thing, but I need you guys to understand when you go back and look at this episode, look at how you respond to the question. Listen to what you say because it's very important for when you go forward. When you go into when you're raising your children, when you go into something, understand that. Because it's a lot of things, me personally, that I want to say, right? But I don't say them. You want to know why? Because it don't serve a purpose. It don't serve a purpose. But when I give you guys the opportunity to speak your mind, that makes me feel good. Think about all these years that I've known you guys. I sat down and chopped it up. If you really look at what I do, I ask about you. Every single time, I ask about how you feel. I don't try to win an argument. Because think about it. If we're going in a sports debate, I attack what you say, not how you feel. Understand? I attack what you say, not how you feel. Because my job, and it's the wide spectrum, my job as a human being, because I see myself as human being as a job for me, because it's full fucking time. It is full. It never stops. When I reached the age of 58, brother, you know what I said to myself? 58 is young. But when I was 35, when I looked at 58, I was like, whoa, I wonder what I'm going to be doing then. You feel me? So it's all about perspective. That's all. So let me do this. Go ahead.
Can I say something? Because we just said about the human being is a 24-hour job, right? And I think that's what I think. It's not for everybody, right? Being a human being 24 is not a 24-hour job for a lot of people, right? Because it means you're thinking about yourself and your moments, and you're totally in tune with the moment, right? You have the ability to respond to things because you're paying attention to what's going on. And I think it kind of embodies what we're saying about snitching and other things, right? If you're paying attention to what's going on, you know the game. Maybe you stay out of that path, but maybe you don't. To me, it's not about. It's really about the world is rough. The world is really rough, right? So, and there's some good parts to it. So to have a judgment about who does what and says what, that's not. My life is hard enough. My 24 hours in my day, it's hard enough for me to manage my own self to be concerned about somebody else and how they're doing it. What we can do is offer some inspiration that you're really not alone in that journey, in that human 24-hour day of trying to get through all this wildness that we endure every moment of every day, right? So I think at the end, to make a jump, I want to go back to the designer piece too, because yesterday when Bill had that polo shirt on, because we haven't got him a FAAFO joint yet, I really remember polo. Like if I wasn't wearing a FAAFO, I'd be wearing polo, right? Because again, I think all of us, that was polo had gotten us. Tommy Hilfiger and them was in there too, but it was really like that was polo was our joint, right? And so I think that, and I love polo, but reality is Polo makes clothes for Polo. He's a designer. He makes designer clothes, right? OFAAFO, we're making things for our people. We say from and for Black Americans and everybody who's about freedom and style, right? It's not just for us, but as Maya Angelou said, she speaks to Black people, but she says it so that everybody has access to it, right? So to me, it's like for the designers we keep saying all these things we want to do, and I'm not hating on nobody who buys any great designer stuff. They make beautiful things. We're not trying, but we're saying that our concept is helping to inspire our people from all the people, and Huggy mentioned it earlier about the Black Panthers and every other person since the first Africans that came to these shores. They made the path for us to be here today, right? So it's like we have an example. We want to celebrate and show our resilience in the face of all these stereotypes Big Dog's talking about, all these things that people constantly attacking us. We just want to show we're resilient people. We're still resilient and a loving, compassionate people, even though a lot of the negatives of our culture get raised because that's what that minority that Loke's talking about is supporting. Let's give us the destruction, the degrading, everything else. And real talk, we watch it. I watch it. I get caught up in it. But I'm like Big Dog said, I have the ability to pull back and say, but I'm not going to go out in the world and be trying to participate and access those things which outside of my time. So I just want to talk about that designer piece.
Okay. I was want to some real quick. I know you got to move on, but I think it goes back to Huggy said. Some communities like we just don't do that out here. I mean, my community when we was out there, we just don't do that out here. So we just can't do that, and that's what OFAAFO is really about: creating that connection and that infrastructure, and creating whether it's physical, tangible, or just spiritual and conceptual. That hey, kids could grow up feeling different. Like those kids ain't grow up. First of all, let's keep it real. It's only like 15 to 25 doing the majority of the madness, right? They didn't grow up like that. Something propelled them to start feeling like that. They could be that way. So the same way, if we change the channel on them, we won't have that issue no more. You know what I'm saying? Like the Black Panthers changed that channel. The Nation of Islam changed that channel. Marcus Garvey and them changed that channel. That they was trying to change people to a different route and said, hey, you know what? We don't have to be like that. Love you. I would say this real quick in closing. I remember I thought being gangster was it where you had the gun, the beeper, hustling, and all that. So I read The Message to the Black Man in America, and I realized I'm the antithesis of all that.
Yeah.
Being a man is loving your family, loving your community, loving your woman, loving your children, being there. So that changed the whole thing. Now we could kind of make that kind of a rag that people are getting fed and have that opportunity at least to know that is available, as I felt got the opportunity, then we might not be speaking as we speak now. And that we wouldn't have that culture saying like it's the culture where 95% of the people ain't doing none of that crap. But we spend a lot of time talking about that small fraction because they have such a big impact.
Right.
But
it's interesting.
Thrown in our face all the time.
Yeah,
but exactly. And we can change the channel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of damage too. Do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, do a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
Oh, yeah.
It's only take one to spread the block.
Yeah. But that's that. It's like it's the law of small numbers, where they allow the small percentile to paint the picture or the perception of the 97%, the 97 to 95 percentile, and it's not accurate. It's off. But
it's not even close.
I know, but I do think that one of the things, like one of the undercurrents of it all, is on both sides of the coin. So as you talked about snitching and why people don't snitch, because at the end of the day, it ain't about what they feel in terms of rightness and wrongness. It's at the end of the day, their attitude and their perception is why? Because nobody cares. Like, why am I going, like in other words, why am I going to go tell somebody because they could care less and they ain't going to do nothing about it? And like Bill said, and all I'm going to do is not put myself in harm's way. Right. And so more than self-preservation, it becomes this thing of survival in navigating with wisdom. It's still not an issue of right or wrong, because even though you're in a survival mode, you still have this conviction that ain't right. And until we get to a place where we move from conviction, because that's where courage gets stirred. You feel what I'm saying? Like
Misguided.
in other words, in other words, like I'm just not all right with not being all right no more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I can't be on mute because I'm not all right with that, and I'm not all right with not being all right. Like at the end of the day, something got to upset the apple cart. And
Both,
I'm
man.
thinking,
Four dudes in the car ready to go do some dirt. Two of them dudes don't even want to be in the car.
Right.
I'm telling you now, I done been with my boys many times
I was
praying that we
venturing
didn't find
to
nobody.
guess 3 don't
Right?
want to be in the
Three. You see the movie Bronx Tale? That's a
Mhm.
prone Bronx Tale. Prone thing. When he was in the car with the dudes, they had the Molotov cocktails. They about to go do it, and Sonny pulled him out the car. He didn't want to be in that car. We need to be the Sonnies to pull up, give that avenue that you don't have to get in that car. That's what we gotta do. People gotta know that avenue exists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like
but-
they got somewhere to go. Like I've walked out of places like I can't go somewhere. I can go somewhere else. I can go to the gym. I can go here.
80% of motherfuckers following a dickhead. You know.
They don't want to go. The one dude wild, and the other dude's like, I don't even want to be here, but I gotta save face.
Exactly.
Hey, Fluke, you was about to say something. Say something real quick, then I got the last question for you guys. All right.
My point is this, man. Everything comes with wisdom, man. Everything comes with wisdom. You know what I'm saying? Even if you fail in that, if you fail in that regard and you do time and you do whatever, when you sitting down, put away, you got to think about, okay, what could I have done, you know what I'm saying, to be better? What could I have done not to be locked up in this cage? You think that part, you know what I'm saying? We all have subjective thought, man. Subjective thought comes with emotion. That's what it is. It comes with emotion. This is how I feel, and I'm looking for people who think like mine. But is that right? No, that has nothing to do with wisdom, man. Nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what do? When you talk about snitching, okay, we know Johnny out there doing his thing, and whatever he get caught up, he gonna snitch on the person that he involved with in terms of Miss Soulfur, who got hurt in the process. The only reason why he gave that person up because he didn't want to do the time. Man up, man, and do your damn time. Man up and do your time. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a better person, man, then you understand your weaknesses, man. And when you getting caught out in your shit with people that you trust.
But I think too, though, and I don't even want to belabor it in a sense because like it is that 3%, but it's so major. But like, it's no rites of passage into that no more, right? So when you back in the days in the 70s, I could speak to in the 80s, there was a rite of passage into all that stuff. You just couldn't just get the gun tomorrow, and then all of a sudden you running people off the block. You know what I'm saying? Like when that crack era came in, the gun, that's when that whole concept changed of people even teaching you how to respect the community and things of that nature. And I know my community, they just took everybody at once. So the kids was out there on their own defense. They came and took 30 people, 40 people, 4 different times at one time. So they took all the people that might have been saying, nah, you don't do it this way, don't do it that way, all the different rites of passage. If you chose to go that lane, to respect it, now you got 15-year-olds up there making the rules.
Right.
And that's why you talk about, so there ain't no snitching, and there ain't none of that. There ain't
That's
no
crazy.
rules and nothing now because there was nobody to teach you no rules.
No, hey, Dre, you was there, man, when we was in the Berg hanging and brother walking across the street, man. You did y'all cop that Public Enemy joint?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There was a connection. Everybody knew what was going on. It was a political thing.
Look how the music changed in the early
NWA
90s.
came in.
Yeah, like it just flipped.
Shit changed.
I mean, dudes was wearing African medallions. It was a whole wave going. The powers that be was like, we're not having that.
I had a medallion, yeah. All right, well, Bruce,
I got 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, all that. Bruce, the red, the black, and the green. You
right. We rocked that shit, man. We was like, you know what I'm saying? We did our thing with that.
And somebody seen a problem with that and said, we going to like change that.
We went from that to dope man. Really?
Bitch, shut the fuck up.
You know Yo, let me get to this question, man. Because there's no snitching. That horse is dead. It's glue right now, y'all. So we're gonna move on to something else. Bruce, this question, and this is for everybody, but we're gonna start with you, Bruce, because you need to start working them brain cells because that brown done got you woozy.
Hey, Keith. Hey, Keith. Hey Keith. Hey Keith. It's like when we was down in South Carolina, Bruce said, Fluke, man, dude, you on some other shit, man. I can't deal with you.
Hey, I'm just listening, man. I was just trying to be a fly on the wall on this one.
Hey, look. Here's the question. And now let me just say my opinion first. I was upset by this, but not because of what happened, but what people focused on, right? Alabama and the Riverboat. All right? I want you guys to give me your opinion. Now, I'm giving you a minute and a half to 2 minutes for your response, okay? Everybody familiar with it, correct?
Yeah.
All right, Bruce. What do you think, brother?
Well, I think what happened was what was supposed to happen. I think that the person who was doing their job was doing their job correctly. He got assaulted, and we, as the people, saw that he was assaulted, so we stuck up for him and turned the tide. So whatever would happen, I thought it was simple as that. So I don't really have too many thoughts other than that. Is that they got what they deserved to get. Here, and I think it was a good moment for us to stick up for each other, to do what was right. And that's really all that I think. That's all I think about that.
Even the folding chair to the woman's head?
Maybe not that. Maybe not that far, but I think that might be a little too far. But, you know, when things start to happen and it starts to snowball, you're going to get something like that. So I think there were a couple of things that shouldn't have happened. I never condone hitting a woman, especially with a chair or an object. But other than that, I think it was justifiable, everything that happened.
Big Bill.
Casualties in war, man. Casualties in war. He was the casualty, brother. It was another incident and some bullshit, white privilege and all that, I guess. They felt offended by that brother when they jumped on him, and we came and helped him out. So, like Bruce said, I looked at it, laughed, I said, damn, it's crazy. I want to see the after what's going to happen next, though. But they didn't bring anybody on charges, any brothers, did they?
Yes.
They did?
They did, yes. A couple of them.
Well, the guy with the chair definitely had to go because he was standing in front of a policeman. He was standing in front of a policeman when he did it. So.
Oh, yeah, I saw that, right. The cops didn't seem to be about breaking that up either. They weren't too strict about breaking that up, though. They was like hanging around. I don't know. I think sometimes violence is not necessary, but that whole situation to run up on that brother was wrong, man. So they got their back, you know what I mean? So hopefully it works out, man. Hopefully everybody learns a lesson. You know what I mean? Violence is never good.
No doubt. Jaquari.
Well, I totally agree with what Biz and Bill had to say, man. But I got to say, man, I was just absolutely elated to see that young man knew how to swim. Absolutely elated.
You didn't want to see him drown trying to get over there, right?
Yeah, because it would have been a different story, bro.
That'd have been messed up, man.
It would have been so messed up, bro.
Yeah.
He had the stamina to fight after that.
He's part of the boat crew.
And he sure was. And pulled himself up like it was nothing. That's that 17-year-old body right there.
Absolutely.
Hey, Cole, Dre, and Kev, same question, but it's a little twist to it. Speak from, and we'll go with you first, Cole. Speak from OFAAFO's eyes about the incident.
I didn't see it. I heard about it, but I refuse to watch it like that because it's like it's just they're talking about the stereotypes. I liked it. From what I heard, okay, I'm good with it. That brother wasn't left by himself. That they defended. But other than that, like it's more like it's kind of sad to me that we keep that sensational. We just have to be sensationalize everything. Like the smallest thing got to be not how could you have made that not happen, or what we do going forward to stop that from happening. We just say, oh, it happened, and now we pick sides of, now it's more you just continue that conflict. But I heard a thing today, and I'll be brief. Dude said if you look at our cells in a microscope, you see it an all-out war. You just see cells going at each other. You think that this is for the betterment of the body. So some people will say that this our conflictual nature as human beings, we're like cells in our bodies. We're banging instead of working together like all the white cells. We're now going white cells, red cells, blah blah blah, whatever, however it works. No scientists, right? But I think in that case, I think it's sad to me when we start having conversations, spending time talking about that instead of the outcome and how to make it prevent it from happening and how to just make it better, to some other conversation of how we can just make ourselves individually better, right? Be more responsible and things like that. So that's my perspective for OFAAFO.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to you, Kev, but let me just say this real quick, Jay. I think what everybody had a real problem with and why they jumped on that side, since you didn't see it, was the man trying to do his job, right? And then before you know it, he was being stumped out by 7 individuals. And then it was going on for a while. You understand? And then the folks came after they all went to their boats.
And also Keith, that white lady got hit in the head with the chair, he was kicking my man too.
I know.
But she got her licks in too. So
She got her shit in, didn't she?
She got her licks in. She was kicking them all too.
She did, but
the sisters washed up though. They washed up over there. She washed up.
Yeah, but she ain't need to get.
Hey, man,
Kev,
look,
it's on you, brother.
The world ain't never cared about our collateral damage. So
that's right.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. I'm with that.
But I want people to know y'all not no heartless people. That's why
I told Cole I think that was wrong. That was wrong.
I wouldn't have hit it with a chair.
I'm not condoning that.
But the fact she got hit with
you use your hand and knock the ass out.
Look,
I ain't condoning none of that.
Hey, Jacory, she was dangerous, man. She needed to be neutralized, man.
Yeah, she did.
Some sisters washed up.
How you did? The way she was sitting down on that deck, yeah, man, she needed to be taken care of. Come on, dog.
She was neutralized.
Man, did you see in the beginning when she was throwing punches and kickings?
I know.
Okay.
I know. Kev, it's on you, brother.
It speaks to the world we live in, unfortunately. As it relates to, you say, look through it from through an OFAAFO lens, it also heightens the need for OFAAFO. When you talk about a stop the violence movement, if you understand contagion or contagious behavior, you understand violence begets violence. And it didn't start with the physical violence more than it started with the emotional or the verbal violence, where you can't even preach. You can't even approach another person. Like, in other words, I can't even approach you to do my job without you having some type of attitude or some type of energy toward me. Like, how right do you want to be even in the wrong? Like in other words, I'm not making this up.
That's a great question.
I'm not making this up, asking you to move your boat. You see, like I see this big boat that's coming right here.
Yeah.
And so when you get, so it speaks to the disharmony that we live in this society nowadays, which speaks to the need for OFAAFO and the platforms and the things and the movements. Like we say, individuals make moves, people make movements. You understand what I'm saying? And it is the power of the collective.
Okay. Drake.
It took me a while to see it, but when I saw it, I really didn't feel no. I was just happy that the brother was allowed to get stomped out with other people around, letting him get stomped out, right?
Yeah.
I was appreciated that part. I didn't appreciate, that's why, even when they said the cops, they came over, everything was black cops too. Mm-hmm. They was doing their job, trying, they probably say stop, right? But when people started hitting the lady with the chair, they had to throw him to the floor a little bit, like, yo, you went too far, right? I didn't like that part, and I ain't like that. If that part, what I didn't kind of feel too good about that, if that part became the butt of the jokes, though, right?
Yeah.
Like now everybody got the chair out, the folding chair out.
I saw
That's
that.
part of the butt of the jokes. I didn't really appreciate that as much. Some of them was funny. Don't get it twisted. I ain't like but it was just like we are using that as the like we focus on that part of it a lot. Like I would like to see more about now we got that there was some stuff, but I didn't really appreciate that her getting hit by the chair first of all. Just the way I thought of it. Like the sisters already had her washed up on the side. But I was happy that they didn't allow the brother to get beat up. But so it was like, hey, but we got to come to our aid. Period. Like I say, like in our community, just in general, we got to come to each other's aid. When we talk about anything we talk about. I say in my community all the time. The reason why you going to like certain communities, you can't do nothing to their people because the whole community will be at the precinct. So if we see anything happen to our people, we have to collectively go and say you can't do that. Like Miller said earlier, we don't do that over here. And if nobody's, the success is in our division. I could beat up, they could beat me up on the street and be like, damn, you see what they did to Malls last night? That's crazy, son. And go about their day, opposed to saying, no, they see what they did to Malls last night? Well, we need to go up there and let them know they can't be doing that in our community. And that's what, from OFAAFO's perspective, to me, that's what it's always been about. Like, no, nobody should feel like they can, violate nothing. Whether it's people in our community or outside our community, they got to know that the 95, 97% are saying, no, you cannot do this, and then they will not think they can do it. They'll find somewhere else to do it. But as long as they think that is an individual, like, oh, that's fucked up what they did to the dog, then it's going to keep happening. And the OFAAFO is the antithesis of that. No, you can't just do that. You can't do that because we're going to let you know you can't do that. As a collective, whether we're not spending with you, when you say all these things, oh, protest. Nah, protest don't buy from that company no more. They'll change their ways. Protest saying, nah, we're going to come up here and say you can't do that. We're going to protest on your steps every day. They're going to stop. They're going to think twice before they do it. As long as they think they can do it to the one and get away with it, and the all ain't going to have nothing to say about it, then we're going to have a problem. But when they know they do it to the one, the all going to have something to do about it, then they'll slow that. Everything will begin to change. And that's from the OFAAFO perspective for me.
Okay. Hey, Flo, we're going to answer this, and then I got a quick question for Kev, Dre, and Cole. But
how come every time you come to me, man? you gotta give me a caveat and shit, man.
Because you long-winded as fuck.
Hey, bro, I ain't said shit tonight, man. The fuck you talking about?
Are we on the same podcast? Are you kidding me?
Well, I can see we on different planes, but it is what it is. Here it is, man. Here it is for me. As far as that whole boat thing, man, whatever, man, that's like an enigma, man. That just doesn't happen, man. We are, as black people, I'm speaking in terms of black people. I can't speak for everybody. I'm speaking for myself. When I saw the whole thing, I'm like, you know what? That was justified. It's what it was, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was glad to see that happen. But does that happen often? No, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? We get caught up in the system and all that stuff. People get whatever. You never saw have you ever saw a black man get a pass for defending or protecting another black man? That just doesn't happen in our society, man.
That's a good point, man.
Why?
But do they show it? I wonder if it happens, but it's not being televised, right? That's the question.
Yeah, there is. That happens. Yeah, that happens. But that's our fault because we don't bring, you know what I'm saying, word to bear to that point, man. You know, this person who got pulled into the whatever and got his ass whooped for protecting another brother, you know what I'm saying? We defending this brother based on his what he was accused of. Not the righteous shit. I didn't want to see that black man die, so I came to his aid. That's literally what it came down to on that dock, man. Those people came to that man's aid because they did not want to see, not because they was wild and crazy and they would want to do some riot shit. They did not want to they literally did not want to watch that man die in front of their eyes. That's what happened. That's what happened. So they jumped off the boat and they came to his aid. You know what I'm saying? Imagine yourself in that position and you on that boat and you can't dock because these clown ass motherfuckers don't want to move their shit. That's how it really started, right? So you see the melee where this man get his ass kicked by seven white people, and you like, I can't see this. I can't imagine living the rest of my life knowing I was on that boat and watching this man lose his life, potentially lose his life. That's why that brother jumped in the ocean. In the river. That's why he jumped in that joint. Because he didn't want to have that on his conscience. You know what I'm saying? So that said, we as a people have to understand that we can't allow ourselves to fall for the dumb shit as they judge us and you know what I'm saying, as they try to judge us and make us look out to be you know the scourge of the earth or whatever. You know what I'm saying? When we see a black man in distress because we saw shit that happened in our lifetime as 50-year-old people, all of us in our 50s, we don't want to. None of us is going to watch a black man lose his life because he moved the damn boat.
What Bill laughing at?
You feel what I'm saying? That's really the crust of it. That's really what it boils down to.
Man doing his job.
Right.
Yeah.
And when he threw his head up in the air, cuckoo!
That's right.
Everybody showed up.
Yes, they
because
did.
everybody did not want to experience what I just described.
Yeah.
Live with that shit if you can.
I think it just shows how much that we want to be together, though. Really, at the end of the day, like we jumped on that. Just like when that movie came out, Black Panther, man, we was out there. We was at war.
Man,
we was out there like,
can
yo,
you
I was like,
imagine?
is this a real place? What's going on? So it was like we just look for those opportunities because everybody really moving like that already, right? Everybody in our own separate little silos want to be together. When we
So Dre,
so
how brainwashed are we, man? When we see tragedy happening before us, man, we don't do shit about it.
Yeah, shoot, that's been whipped out of a lot of us a long time. You know what I mean? That was the
So don't get mad when the brothers step up, right?
No, I don't even be mad at brothers. I think it just shows more so that we want to be together. Like, you know what I mean? Like we want to be together. We really do. And most of us want to be together. That's why we take so much pride when these situations happen and things of that nature. Because we like, yo, I'm not gonna see that and see nobody get killed in front of me, but especially by some others, you know what I mean? That have been pouncing, like we feel been pouncing on us for a lifetime, for generations on top generation. We don't want that, but I think it's just one together, no matter what it is. Like I said, they tell somebody you're gonna do the Cuban Shuffle, boy. We be all together, boy. We should name that shit the Cuban Shuffle. Like, you with them dances, boy. There's nowhere to stop nobody. Get everybody together in one second.
And here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy. I see 8 people in front of me. When it comes to the police or whatever, how many guns been pulled on y'all, man, by the police, man?
Me and the River, none. I haven't had a cop pull my gun.
Man, I done had guns pulled up, hit me in the head, dog. And I was sharp as hell. And it was raining.
Let me ask the panel this, man. How many of y'all would have had to stay on the boat?
No, how far you had to swim?
I wouldn't have stayed on the boat.
I can't swim.
It don't matter. Look, if I would have jumped in that water, man, it would have turned into a goddamn rescue mission and shit.
Exactly.
Hey, Jacory been talking about help. Hey man, take care of him, but help.
They might have distracted him. They may have to save him and leave the dude alone.
At 17, it might not have been a thought.
Crazy, man.
At 50, at my age now, I might have not even thought that jumping in the water was an option.
Think about how we think, man. Think about
Not
how we
because I wanted to
think.
help him. I was like, I probably didn't think I could because I was on the boat.
Man, look, let me just say this. When it came to this with my job, 30
I'd have been
years of it.
snitching.
Look, 30
I
years
saw
of it.
him do it. I saw him do it. I saw her in it.
Hey, who said that?
Because
Hey, Kobe, you said that?
Look. I would have done it. I saw him. I thought.
look, I'm gonna tell you something,
He
man.
has to weigh that. He had to weigh that option, didn't he?
I'd have been on the dock. I would have been helping. But if I was on the boat, I wouldn't even thought about jumping in the
Goddamn
water. I wouldn't
right.
even thought that was an option. I would at 17. I might have thought it was an option.
Yeah.
It's a different age.
I got a grandbaby, man. I got a grandbaby, a baby girl.
Look, let me just say this, man, because like my job, I went to my job to help people. It had nothing to do with, wanting to be in law enforcement. I had to feed my damn family, period. Right? So going to help automatically, I do it. I said that when I was a young boy, I helped. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because that's, especially when it came to black people, I do it. You know what I mean? So I don't judge anybody if they have second thoughts and all this and da-da-da. It's all coming down to the individual, period. It's what it is.
I'm like, damn, I wish I wasn't on this boat. But I wouldn't have thought about jumping in the water.
Bro,
That shit
no, hell no.
Bro,
I wouldn't.
don't, man.
I know I can't swim. I'm not jumping in the damn water.
There was 100 people on that boat. He jumped. That was his co-worker, too.
Hey, I saw a video, man, where this brother was watching this female jump in the water. He said, "You need some help?" She said, "I got it, man. I don't need no help." She was drowning. He jumped in the water. He said, she said, "I got a boyfriend. I don't need no help." He jumped in the water. He was like, "Help, boyfriend! Help!"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right,
that's us, man. Come on, dude. At some point in time, well, I got my segment, man. I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. This is for you guys, and then we're gonna go into your segment, Luke. OFAAFO crew.
Yeah, man.
Where is it going in your eyes? Where is the collective and the movement going? Where do you want it to go? Perfect world. Perfect world.
I can answer that question, bro.
Hey, Luke. Yeah. Luke. I want them to answer.
Okay.
We'll start with you, Miller.
It's about personal responsibility.
Where's it going?
Yeah, well, in your eyes, what in your opinion?
Up. It's really about to spread like wildfire. Number of things brewing. But it's one of those things where, if you can imagine, I'll compare it almost like to a fire. If you're able to start small fires in close proximity, they can almost create kindle for a spread. And I think that we're on the verge of really seeing this fire spread. You got a flicker here, you got a flicker there. There are a number of things that, so I'd have to say, in all humility, to be honest with you, there's been so much growth in the past year, and everything we've endeavored to do has been successful. It's just been hard to bring the success into a place of connection. And so you have these places of isolation. There's been different goals that we've looked to do to improve ourselves as people, as businessmen, increase our business acumen, our processes, things of that nature. And we've been learning and we've been growing. And now it's just a matter of creating this momentum that will come from the continuity when we can get all this stuff together in lock and in sync. And I think that that's getting ready to happen in the fall. There's some things that we talk about, some things we're looking forward to sparking. And I think this is next season. Because when you understand what's going on now, the summertime is just is a hard time. It's very transient. It's hard for fashion. It's hard to connect with people because people are on the go, this, that, and the third. But as society at large begins to settle down and settle in, we'll be able to just create some things. And I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Me too.
Ankobia is on you.
Huggy said it perfectly. I think for me, one of the things, and going back to the obstacles question earlier, I think I kind of got out of that business of trying to think of where it's going to be. And it makes me think about the quote where the dude said, I forget what movie it was, but the dude was like, how far are we going to go? And the other dude was like, it's not so much how far we're going to go, it's do you have the depth of constitution to go as far as it takes you, right? So for me, every day is another opportunity to do just what Huggy's saying. Continue to light those small fires. Let's get to more people. These conversations help, right? And we know too, like to a lot of people, this is going to be corny, right? You got these OGs doing this joint, and you got this love, this OFAAFO, one for all, for one, work together. I've heard it. There's people that's going to look and say like that's on, because they're not on that frequency, which is totally fine, right? The goal is though for people that are, like Luke said earlier, we want to be that beacon. We want to be that simple that there is something out there that is trying to inspire that best parts of ourselves and happiness instead of just falling to that, just that heartbreak and just the easy frustration, anger that clouds the wisdom that Luke's been talking about throughout, right? So to me, we're going to go where it takes us. And I think, like Huggy said, it's lighting up, it's picking up. And in the last year, we've had some great successes, and we can see it growing and developing. And these calls help for sure.
Okay. Drake.
No, I'm just gonna leave it to the brothers right there. They said everything. I don't want to even.
Oh hell no! Hell no! Hell no! So, man, are you kidding me?
Nah, I see it going.
No, I'm not
all the way up.
You understand? I'm not asking y'all to predict anything. It's just your feeling. That's all.
No, feeling is that is. I say, well, I lighten it to. I say, yo, we taxiing. We about to take off, right? It's taxiing. We about to take off. But I think Huggy put it profoundly in code. Are you willing? Are you ready for it? And like Huggy said, like this little patch of fire. Like I said, I said appeal to people. There's all these different people. Like I said, I was saying all through the conversation. When we talk about the doc, people looking for stuff to gravitate to. It's just they don't have that word. Every time I look at something, like, we need unity. We need this. We need that. We need that. Like OFAAFO, it's timeless. It's just as important today as it was when we came up with the word, as it was 400 years ago and 1,000 years ago or whatever. It was from the beginning of time. So it's just really getting that connection where people can start saying OFAAFO, right? So when people it's a shame. One time, a guy from my neighborhood, he was like, "Yo, family, this dude knew me 20 years." He's like, "I never knew what that meant." And I was like, "Wow." He said, I never knew what it meant. Yeah, but the other day, though, just to take it on another light, I was in New York, and the girl came up and she asked my man, she's like, what's that mean? He was like, one for all for one. She was like, what? He was like, one for all for one. This is the first time I ever heard this. I've been doing this 28 years, right? She was like, is that English? She was like, no, one for all for one. She was like, but is that English? He was like, okay. But at the end of the day, I think it's just something that people just got to know about. Once they know about it, then I just see how people it looks like it's going to be something difficult when you see it. Mm-hmm. What's that mean? It's going to be another language or something. And I've seen it throughout our time of doing this. As soon as you be like, nah, it's one for all for one. That light go off of people's face, like, wow. Wow. And I just think the more people we can get to that, it's just going to be that how them fires connect to start that wave, so to speak.
Big dog, can I say something about that? What you just said about that?
Yeah. Go ahead, but I need y'all the original 13, man. We gotta hear the name.
It's quick. It's quick. But do you remember before you left Pittsburgh? We was at 520 North Negley, and you came to the back of the house, and you was like, "Yo, Trey." Yo, we're in the house. We just hear you outside screaming. So we go out like, "What's good, big dog?" I'm like, "Yo, I sold my first shirt." Yo, it was like So from now on, we say it's the big
Them
dog
joints,
moment. We say
Yeah,
like just like Lo
yeah,
said,
I
you're just
did.
gonna have that moment when you see it and it just comes together like bling, it goes off like, oh, I
Yeah.
see what this is. I see the value in it. It's not just some like gimmick we're trying to get over. We're trying to really show some inspiration. So again, throw that out there. Big dog
Yeah.
moment.
Now, because I think it's kind of the best way I can put it. It's the phrase "fan into flame."
Mhm.
That's where we are. We're in the process of doing all these little things to fan into flame.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's good.
I wish y'all, I
Good.
wish y'all could hook up with Brand Nubia, man.
Yeah, we're working on it.
No, absolutely. I'm working on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
There's,
that'd be crazy.
there's
That
been
would be
there's been conversation.
sick.
Yep.
That would be
Yep.
sick.
Yeah, there's been conversation.
Yep.
All right, original 13, man, and then Damon is gonna be on you to take us on home.
Original 13. Big dog, you was there. You wanted 13. We got Kevin Berkeley, my man for the grand.
Oh, for
We got
sure.
Ron Monday. We got Corey Thompson. We got John Monroe. We got Ankobia here. We got Kev Miller right here. We got Swizz Beat, Suave. Lamont Bradley was there.
Nah.
Oh, my man Norris Coleman was there. I think even Sheriff Dawson was there.
See?
You was. You was.
Yep.
And who am I missing anybody?
D. Pooch.
Oh, and then they wasn't there, but they basically came up. They was
for
they
sure.
was the backbone of
That's
art, and
the joke.
they
For
was
sure.
it. Dwayne Shaw and James Logan.
Yeah.
So you see it. You see
Wait,
when you
wait,
see
wait.
the art.
Is
You
that
see
12?
them,
Is that 12 or 13?
and then myself.
And look,
He didn't
Okay.
mention himself. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Myself. So that's 13. But yeah, and it can't. You must mention Dwayne the Pooch because although they came up the pit for a short time and hung out with us, played ball with us, did all the things with us. But you look at this like Miller said, we did the YOB, but you look at the art of OFAAFO, that's Dwayne Shaw and James Logan.
Yep.
And one crazy, I'm saying this in a way that these guys was hustlers, right? But they were college men at the same time. Got to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Feel what I'm saying?
Yes,
Because the intelligence led the way into the concept and everything to what you're doing. It's what it is.
And we couldn't do it without the support of all y'all. You know,
oh y'all,
without
everybody is it.
like this right here again. You notice when everybody got on the call how hyped we all get because it's family, right? This doesn't happen without the support. Yeah, there's original 13, but there's MG,
Of
mine.
course.
Like,
the women. We cannot forget the women that was
so
part.
many
Yeah.
extended family, like it always is, the one for all, one for real, to support us and continue today. And all the new people that sign up to the site and coming on, we're gonna be interacting with everybody, but it's all the family support that we've had over the years that's got us to this point today.
Yeah, don't forget this. Shout out MG, the whole Greer family out in Pittsburgh, Mons and all them, everybody. And if I've missed you, I'm so sorry. But it's everybody. It's just hard for me though because we all it to me.
Right.
So the dream is for all. It was all our experience. Danny, he is the whole nine. Like all that was Joe Proc. Everybody. That's all part of the cultivation that brought it to that. All us. That's what brought it to it. It was like it was the making. It was all that brewing together that kind of got us brought OFAAFO to fruition.
That OFAAFO too much posse too.
Yeah, exactly. Too much posse tea, right?
Hey, Damon, take us on home so I can let these gentlemen go today Friday, bro.
Here's my thing, man. I've been knowing y'all brothers for over 30 years, man. All y'all. You feel me? And y'all consistent with y'all shit. Y'all consistent with it, man. And that lets me know that there's hope for our people as a whole. Because there are some brothers out here who's educated, doing their thing in the community. You know what I'm saying? Along the lines of y'all conception, along the lines of what y'all try to start and build. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing that's crazy for me, man, is that there's this element outside of that to say that we are not, as black men, all of us, 8 of us is black men on this channel right now, who's speaking, you know what I'm saying, who's speaking in terms of how to uplift us as a people. You know, I was watching the political pundits talking and all that stuff, man. They were talking about, well, they always show black people who supposed leaders, man, we are not monolithic. Okay, who is? Who is? But you convince a person, well, everybody don't think like I do, but you know, my thoughts and my understanding of life, whatever is important. But what makes us whole, man? What makes us who we are? What gets us what we want? Obama 98%, Obama 94%, whatever it was for Biden, we ain't get shit out of the deal, nothing. You know what I'm saying? But we still, in certain factions, we got people saying, well, we're not monolithic. Damn that. That shit, that is the worst word that you can use against a community. We're not monolithic. That's the worst word. No. We deal with that shit in-house. As a whole, as a political unit, we are monolithic. Because we all have the same goal that we want to reach in terms of changing our lives, whatever. You know what I'm saying? In terms of changing our lives. But you got these factions saying, well ain't no, we don't agree on shit. That is the dumbest shit in the world, man. What community you know who's not monolithic still get the things they want because they came together as a whole? You see what I'm saying? But because we don't want to be who we are, black men that's on the stage right now, we want to look for differences between us. But we all trying to reach the same goal. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to reach the same goal. We can't say as a collective, hey man, we ain't gonna bring people in our house. We're not gonna talk about the things that makes us different. We're gonna talk about the thing that makes us whole, and then we'll figure that shit out once we get the power. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Everybody does that but us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? OFAAFO, 28 years on the grind, being creative and all that stuff. Why ain't nobody talking about y'all when it comes to the black community? That's longevity right there, 28 years plus. We need to speak more about who y'all brothers are, man, and let y'all say, okay, this is my experience, because every last one of y'all still work with adolescents and youth and stuff, right? In your community. Mm-hmm. Y'all didn't deviate from y'all purpose and what y'all chose to build. Y'all stayed on that shit. I didn't hear not one person say, hey man, I couldn't deal with no more, so I went over here to entertainment and shit. No, y'all still on the grind, bruh. How come ain't nobody talking about y'all, man? So, what is it that we need to do? We need to talk about OFAAFO shit. Our politicians in the black community need to be talking about that shit. Because y'all shit is longer than their political life. Longer. And y'all committed to it. Can't nobody tell y'all how to work and deal with black people? Y'all need to be telling them how to do it. No, we're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. But y'all are an example of being together with the understanding that we're different. And y'all are to the last brothers, I listen to all y'all, committed to that shit, to your people. To your people. So we got to get Candace Owens and all them other clown motherfuckers out and get y'all up in them joints, man.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. They don't want us up in this, and that's not the sensationalism they need. They need people to get.
Brothers like y'all creating the platforms.
So that said, I know my man has no business. I know he's never going to win the presidency and shit. Cornel West. But he gonna get delegates and all that stuff where they have to hear it.
Yeah.
They have to listen to
Spreading
it.
the message.
When the black people get behind him.
Yeah.
That is a voting block that they cannot deny.
Right.
So, next election coming up, vote for Cornel West, man. Real talk. And let him know who y'all are. OFAAFO.
Yeah.
Waffle, baby.
All day.
Reagan.
It's always all right.
That's all I got to say.
I'm gonna say, yo, it's been a real dope joint, yo. Just chilling with y'all has been dope.
Oh yeah, this is some deep shit right here, bro. For real.
Had a great time. Appreciate the opportunity.
Always.
Oh, for
Definitely. Well, I knew that, just the vibe was going to be great, period. And then the information you guys were bringing forward, knew it was going to be great. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I wanted you guys to come on because of what Damon spoke to, the longevity of it. It's a longevity, man. That's some real shit. You know what I'm saying? Because what it does is it also highlights your friendship. That's the key. Sometimes you're still friends and you're not speaking to one another, but you're still friends. It's the glue of it. It's the whole thing. I wanted Bruce and Bill to come on because we needed comic relief. No, I'm just kidding. But really,
we got plenty of that tonight.
Look, Bill and Bruce know you guys. You understand what I'm saying?
Y'all like my brothers.
Know you.
Right.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
That is
I spent some
important,
of my best years in life with y'all. You know what I mean?
That is important.
Absolutely. I do got a question for Kev though, Kev. I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
You still drive around that big white van you go to school with your step pop, man, with no windows.
I remember that. Yo,
Remember that, Kev?
I remember that for sure.
Me in the back, no windows.
Yo, we had a ball.
But
That was too funny. That was too funny.
yo, I remember building them back in '87. So
Yeah.
we're going to Greek pic. I'm going to my first Greek picnic and shit. So I'm like, oh, I'm looking for my man Bill. Look for my man Big Bill. Oh man, I'm telling Pooch and D, yo, my man Big Bill. I'm just keep saying, we're Big Bill and Bruce and all them out. I see Bill. I'm like, yo, Bill, what's up, son? What's going on? He was like, what up?
I remember that.
He's like, you really know this dude?
I love Pooch, man. Pooch, my man.
Hell yeah.
Pooch good. He doing good. He live in LA.
Yeah.
I talked to him last Friday. Actually.
Yo, that Greek picnic thing though, man. I'm gonna tell you, y'all Philly dudes, y'all came with the big old ice chest, and we filled them all up. Man, that was crazy. Man.
You tell me we went to the state stores and shit.
Oh man, it was
Moosehead. Oh,
Moosehead. They still sell that?
Yeah, back.
Hey, I remember the police pulled us over and shit. And y'all was like, man, fuck y'all.
Hold on.
And they let us go. I said, oh, wow.
Hold on. Let me get off this line.
Oh, I'm still on the joint?
Yes, you are, sir.
Hey, this is the second time, bro.
It's the second time you weren't paying attention.
Last time I complained, my grandma was calling me grandma and shit.
Listen, this is Strong Perspective Podcast. Please do us a favor. Go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribe to our channel, because what we try to do, this kind of conversation, we have all the time, but we want other people to see it. So we're trying to build our channel up so that can happen. We'd appreciate it if you do take the 45 seconds or so just to hit subscribe. You know what I'm saying? But look, guys, thank you. I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all did an awesome job.
Thank you, man.
Y'all did an awesome job, man.
All y'all. Good seeing you.
Thank you.
Hey, this is my W. My double. This is not me.
Hey, Jaquari, go ahead and throw that disclaimer out before we go.
Like, share, and subscribe. What you want me to say, brother? I don't know. I mean, yeah.
For
Hey, look.
for the people who work, who got to go to work on Monday, what's the disclaimer you always say?
Yeah, I got to work on Monday, man. So just be careful what you say. But it's too late now. The show's over. OFAAFO, man of OFAAFO, man. I appreciate you. Ankobia, Kev, this is the first time I met you guys, man. But I want y'all to understand, man, that y'all had a really big impact on my young life up to this point. I thank you for your efforts in the community, man. And if there's anything I can do outside of buying a T-shirt, let me know, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's much love. For everybody, go if you haven't already, subscribe. Go to sign up to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram page if you haven't already, and go to the site, sign up, become a member. Stay in tune with everything we're doing. We're about to start doing pop-ups, so we might be in your city, and we're doing specific city shirts too. So we're trying to make it again some real fire joints. So look out.
Any last words? Any
Get
last
uniform.
words? Hey, Bruce.
Yes, sir.
Any last words, man?
No, love y'all, brothers. It's always
Yes.
good. Talking with
Love
y'all,
y'all.
like what OFAAFO is doing. I like that message. Or the concept about the 95% of the people are really doing well, hard working, great kids, and the 5% seems to get the light. I like groups like OFAAFO that are trying to shine the light on the 95%. So y'all keep doing the great work that y'all doing. Love y'all. Appreciate it.
Love you, bro.
Love you.
Love all y'all.
Love you.
Hey, look, and one last thing. Bill,
Yeah.
they gonna get a 4X for you, my guy.
For sure.
Or 3X big. Either one, baby. I lost a couple pounds.
We'll make them both.
I've been going to gym hard. I want to say something too.
First of all, I can wear a 3X, my guy. But go ahead, I'm listening.
Johnny Frank, you always taking shots at me, man. Let's get off live before we finish this conversation.
I'll meet you
Hey.
offline.
No lie.
Well, hey, real
I'll be
talk.
offline.
Real talk. I can't wear no 3X. My grandmother tell me, Granddad, you got on the dress, man. What are you doing? So I need a 2X.
This is
OFAAFO.
a Strong Perspective
2X, okay.
podcast. We here every Friday at 7:30. Make sure you tune in.
Tune
We
in.
out.
Tune in. Be
Peace.
safe. Have a great weekend. It's the O.